Truly, the 2021 GCIIS Award has been an exciting and valuable journey. We appreciate the time, effort, and professionalism that the Continual Improvement subgroup members have exemplified for the fulfillment of the GCIIS Award. So I would just like to give a big thanks to, next slide please, Mr. Adil, Ms. Shema, Mr. Mandar, Mr. Santosh, Mr. Mustafa, Ms. Faiza, Mr. Abdullah, Ms. Dana, Ms. Huda, and Mr. Nawaf. Let's give them a round of applause. Okay. Under the theme of excellence in crisis, reflecting the unusual time that all the organizations have experienced, the categories for this year's awards consist of best practices in management, a leadership to foster the change, Kaizen and innovation, incremental, restorative, and innovative improvements, Lean Six Sigma, breakthrough process improvements, happiness engagement, an initiative to improve stakeholder wellness and well-being. Moving forward to the awards assessment, we would like to extend our gratitude for our esteemed assessors for sharing their competencies, time, and professionalism in selecting outstanding cases among the applicants. We honor the participation of Mr. Adil, Ms. Shema, Mr. Mandar, Mr. Santosh, Mr. Mustafa, Ms. Faiza, Mr. Abdullah, and Ms. Dana. Let's give them a round of applause. Once again, thank you for your constant support in the Dubai Quality Group endeavors. To give you an overview, we will also present the award process for the 12th cycle of the GCIIS. The assessment comprised of 4 phases, which started with the submission of 86 case studies from the UAE and Middle East entities from government and private sectors, followed by the assessment of the submitted cases, which took 1 month to assess. After thorough selection, 24 cases have been shortlisted and were presented comprehensively to the respective assessors. The cases were mainly segregated between the manufacturing and service industries. Based on the assessors' interviews with the shortlisted applicants, the jury assessment team conferred and finally selected a total of 18 winners for all the categories based on the best methodology adapted and results achieved. Without further ado, we will now proceed to the next segment of the program, the case study presentation. In this portion, the shortlisted applicants will be given 10 to 12 minutes to discuss their case study implemented based on approach adapted, results achieved, and learnings generated. Please stay tuned, as this will be a great opportunity to learn the best practices of various sectors from the local and global institutions. Now, I'd just like to remind all of the presenters that after 10 minutes, I will be giving you a time warning, and you will be given 1 minute just to wrap up your presentations, just for the sake of time. I hope that no one gets offended if I do have to cut you off. This is all just for the sake of efficiency and effectiveness. We'll now start with the best practices in management category. In this category, we'll have 3 presenters. Starting off with the Arabian. I'd like to also remind you, if you're not presenting or speaking, kindly keep your mics on mute. So we will start with the best practices in management category, with starting with the Arabian Automobiles Company, Al Rastamani, AWR, for the case Automated Communication and After Sales using Machine Learning and Predictive Analysis. Please go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Allow me first to introduce myself. My name is Marwan Ramman, and I lead the customer experience team in AW Rastamani and Arabian Automobiles. It is a great pleasure for us to be here today presenting our case study, which is mainly focused on artificial intelligence and marketing automation. So to give a quick debrief about the case study and the business itself, as you know, Arabian Automobiles is a national sales company that has been out there in the market for over 50 years, and we cater for multiple brands like Nissan, Infiniti, and Renault. The way the business works is we have sales, which sells all the vehicles out there in the market, and we have our service department. So service department receives all the vehicles for servicing, and the vehicles are supposed to come in every 6 months or 10,000 kilometers, whatever comes in. So over time, we've seen a lot of challenges arising. The first one is the drop in unit sales year on year. And that's due to multiple reasons like shared mobility, government working on initiatives like RTAs, metro, etc. That, of course, impacted the business in terms of the number of cars coming into our service centers and hitting our revenue directly. The second one is the rise of competition like aggregators. If you know, you have Kafu and you have many other companies now offering services at your doorsteps, so customers have more options. The third one is the rise of the digital era. So most of the interactions of our customers are happening now online. So whenever they come into our service centers, our frontliners or our service advisors do not have visibility on the journey the customer went through or the offers or what his preference is. If you move to the next slide, please. Can you move to the next slide, please? Yeah, thank you. So the objective for implementing this project is, of course, to maximize our revenue and the inflow, to have a seamless customer experience, to be able to upsell and cross-sell our products and services and increase the repair order value, and of course, enhancing the customer experience, especially the face-to-face one. If you go to the next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. So the way we've developed our ecosystem is fully integrated and connected. So if you look on the left-hand side, we've worked internally on developing AI and machine learning. And what that does, it really takes historical data, customer behavior data pieces, and provides many recommendations. Of course, all those systems are very well integrated with our central system, which is Oracle, which is what we use for the day-to-day activities, and also connected to all the communication channels that we have under Arabian Automobile. So whether it's marketing automation, our call center, our maintenance reminder system, our mobile app, everything is very well interconnected. And what the AI and machine learning model do is they give us really 7 offerings. The first one is the business segment. So it really tells us or predicts whether the customer is about to churn, whether he's a loyal customer, yes or no, based on historical pattern. The second one is the vehicle segment, so the vehicle age. The warranty segment, so whether a person is under warranty, out of warranty, is about to renew his warranty, is most likely renew his warranty, yes or no. The fourth one is very crucial, which is the next expected service date. So when is the customer expected to come to service? So especially based on the running pattern, and the reason why we have it in green, it's because it's really the moment of truth. So based on the next expected service date, the system knows when to start communicating with the customer at the right time. The fifth one is the loyalty score. So whether the customer is likely to come back to us or go to another vendor. The defection score, which is how likely is the customer to come into the service on time, or whether he's going to honor his appointment, yes or no. And the 7th one is the basket analysis, which basically the system studies the customer preference and tell us which offers the customer is most likely going to respond to. So for me to bring this to life, I will put it in a clear example. If you go to the next slide, please. Next slide, please. Thank you. So please meet Marcus. If you look at the top side of the slide, Marcus is one of our customers. He is retained at risk. So basically he visits us once a year instead of 2. His vehicle is 2 years old and still under warranty. His next expected service date is September 16. He's not likely to come into service on time, and he's health conscious because we know that because he's a CEO of a pharmaceutical company. So the journey starts on the left-hand side where Marcus is due for service. The system automatically triggers an email to Marcus with a personalized offer ahead of time, so 15 days ahead of his due date, followed by a call 10 days ahead by our call center, where they book an appointment for Marcus to come in and service his car. Of course, the system automatically sends out a reminder SMS 1 day before the appointment. But Of course, as predicted by the system, Marcus does not honor his appointment. So the system automatically reads that. And based on the customer behavior, the system continues on sending the right messages with the right content. So the system triggers an email after that with a free pick and drop service. So Marcus doesn't have to come in himself to the service center. We will go collect his car and bring it to the service center. He clicks on the email, he uses the mobile app where he books his appointment. And of course, he receives a call from our call center for them to coordinate all the logistics. After the service appointment, we have the offer visibility. So our service advisors have full visibility on the digital behavior of Marcus. We know which offers he's interested in. So we can easily call him and upsell him offers because he's not in front of us. So he accepts offers that are tailored to him, and we can go ahead and proceed with the service. Post-car delivery, the system automatically triggers a survey for us to capture his satisfaction, and the journey continues. So we know when his insurance is due, we send him tailored offers. We know when his RTA inspection is due, we send him tailored offers, for example, the tires offer in this case, and the registration renewal as well until the journey really continues. If you move to the next slide, please. Next slide, if you don't mind. Thank you. So of course, this is one example. We have hundreds of campaigns that are ready based on different customer behavior, whether it's before the appointment due, all the way to more than 180 days after the service request is due. And we have mapped out all the segments, we have mapped out all the communication pieces and all the offers that are automatically triggered without any human interference. If you go to the next slide, please. Next slide, if you don't mind. Thank you. Of course, implementing such a project was not done overnight. It took a lot of effort, so over 1 year for us to be able to implement that and revise our model with strong collaboration with so many teams internally. So this entire project was developed internally by our IT team, by our CRM and customer experience team. Of course, marketing was heavily involved for all the offers, and we've used, of course, the partnership we have with Oracle for them to be able to integrate different systems because those are the platforms we use are all offered by Oracle. If you move to the next slide, please. Thank you. Of course, we cannot be implementing any project internally without having strong KPIs and proven ROI to the board of directors. This project helped us increase the reported ratio by 10%. So if previously we used to book 1,000 appointments per day, 600 cars used to come in. Now we are at 700 cars. Of course, an increase of 10%. That directly impacts, of course, the accuracy and the number of appointments that we are getting on a daily basis, where we've seen an increase of 18%. And most importantly is the increase in the repair order value. So if you used to come into us and spend 1,000 dirhams, now you are spending 1,140 dirhams. So over 1 year, we were able to achieve more than 4,000 incremental repair orders that generated more than $1 million of incremental GP. On the non-financial side, and especially with the rise of the digital era, we were able to connect and engage more with our customers. So the open rate on the email and communications we have is at 18%, where the industry benchmark is 15%. And the click-through rate, we've achieved at 5%, where the industry benchmark is at 2%. If you go to the next slide, please.
Sorry to interrupt, sir, just to say that 10 minutes is up.
I have a minute left.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Thank you. Of course, the project is not over and it continues on improving. If you go to the next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yes, so we have improvements that are ready for this year by increasing our accuracy model, by expanding this model to Infinity and Renault, since we've implemented it for Nissan, adding more hyper-personalized content and introducing new communication channels like WhatsApp for Business, and of course, revamping our mobile app with advanced UX and UI. And that was it. That concludes our case study. Thank you for listening.
Thank you very much to Arabian Automobiles Company. For the next presenter, may we call on the Dubai Police Headquarters for the case Sahalat Initiative.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Hello?
Yes, we can hear you, sir. Please go ahead.
Yes. This is Lieutenant Mohammed Al Muhairi from Dubai Police Headquarters. Our initiative is basically about check bounce cases. We have decreased the amount of time that it used to take the consumer and the client to basically launch a case. We have noticed that 85% of the criminal acts and the criminal cases in Dubai Police is based on check bounces. So we have came up with a practice, this initiative where we are gonna cut down the whole time that used to take 3 weeks to open a check bounce case into 15 minutes. And based on that, we came up with Sahalat. If you can pass to the next slide, please. While we implemented this in 2017, before we implemented, we did our study and we saw that actually all the consumers and all our clients that comes for check bounces cases used to be unhappy on a rate of 88% of their happiness achievement, happiness indicator achievement. So by then we implemented this and we got on the first year 284,000 cases. Based on it, we have basically we have implemented this initiative and we started working on that. We saw that all the clients actually are liking it and they're moving it so fast. By doing that, we had to basically convince the central bank and the local authorities and the whole banks on the same table on how we can cut down the journey from 3 weeks to 15-minute process, and you can only do it by an application. That have reflected, if you can move to the next slide, please. That initiative have also the next one. That initiative have basically reflected on the local economy by 25 billion dirhams per year, where it actually boosts up the whole organization strategy and the vision of Dubai government. And by doing so, it has been implemented on the whole UAE. This initiative basically have also reduced the cost of launching it. Before, it used to cost the client, the bank, and the police a certain amount, where we dropped it down to we dropped it 80% by doing this initiative. So it became very cheaper, very fast, very efficient, and it reflects on a very high income to the government and people's money on check bounces. They used to calculate them and get them back, like what's there rightfully theirs, very fast. That's how we managed since 2017 till today. And it has been a very good initiative, and we're developing in it a lot. We have achieved by doing this initiative, we basically reduced the usage of human resources, where everything became systemated, if I'm saying the word correctly. we trained our employees. We basically don't need so much human resources on that. We have just got ourselves an own system of an own program of training, and we trained our employees, and there is a team that works on this, and it became faster and efficient and very cost reducing. If you can move to the next slide, please. Yeah. And this page basically, it explains how we basically have solved this initiative, and what is the journey that it takes for individuals and the banks, and how we can just start it. Like for individuals, they go by to smart police stations and or only launch it on the application, and it goes through only 3 steps, which is it goes from the SPS, and it sends the message directly to the bank, so the client doesn't have to go to the bank. The bank fills the whole page of what we request on our launching process of the case, and then it goes and it gets reviewed, and it gets approved. It gets approved by our team in the police, which is the team I spoke about that we trained. Once that system basically verifies the whole informations on that request, on that application request, it directly switches on Dubai Police Headquarters to launch the whole case, and that only takes 15 minutes. That happens also for the banks. If you can switch to the second slide, please. The other one. Yeah, that's basically actually what I all mentioned over here. That's basically all what is our initiative is about, which is we don't really need 10 minutes to say that all. So if you have any questions, I can end it up here.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
To the Dubai Police Headquarters. The last presenter. The last presenter in this category is the Dubai Healthcare Authority for the case Rapid Resilience Screening. Please go ahead.
So good morning, everyone. My name is Dr. Fatma Al-Sharaf, the Director of Corporate Quality and Excellence from the Dubai Health Authority. We're delighted to present to you the Rapid Resilience Screening Model, which is a unique approach that was developed by the DHA team in efforts to enhance our resilience during the pandemic. We start with an inspiring quote from our leader, His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Vice President and Prime Minister of the UAE and the ruler of Dubai. UAE didn't stop during COVID-19 and won't stop after it. And this is what the model is about. Next slide, please. So before we start, we would like to introduce you to the Dubai Health Authority and our services so you would know us better. DHA was established with the aim of offering an accessible, effective, and integrated healthcare system, protecting public health and improving the quality of life within the Emirate. Next slide, please. DHA's organizational structure comprises over 65 business units with more than 12,000 employees, while DHA's healthcare services are delivered through a total of 40 service centers across the Emirate. The Corporate Quality and Excellence Department sits under the Strategy and Corporate Development sector, under which our business processes are managed and optimized to improve our organizational resilience. Next, please. DHA has a robust business process management structure consisting of 5 levels, starting from 23 processes at level 1, down to the detailed policy and procedures at level 5. Next. Next. The first case of COVID-19 was registered in the UAE on the 29th of January of 2020, when a rapid action was needed to assure the safety of our staff and the residents of Dubai. It was important for us to adopt new business models, ensuring the continuity of our critical services while assuring utmost flexibility of our operations to meet the expanding demands on the healthcare system. Hence, we selected the 3 themes: safety, continuity, and flexibility. Accordingly, we prioritized 9 out of the 23 process areas that we previously mentioned at level 1. Next slide. So why did we create our unique methodology? It's because we reviewed other international best practices, like, for example, the British Standards on Guidance on Organizational Resilience. As good as they were, the standards were not fit for rapid implementation since they required a long-term plan. Next, please. Next slide. We started with the 4 steps, the 5 steps, sorry, as you can see over here, studying the processes and critical services. Sorry, the previous slide, my dear. I think there's a lag, however. So we've started with the 5 steps, which is studying the processes and critical services, followed by predicting the adverse scenarios, assessing the responsiveness, revamping the process, and finally controlling resilience capabilities. On the current slide, which is on the problem identification and challenges, the pandemic was the main trigger, after which DHA developed its unique resilience methodology to have a well-informed decision-making system based on real data and facts. Next slide. So as mentioned earlier, DHA identified challenges based on the 9 prioritized process areas. So for instance, one of the top identified challenges under care of patient was to continue offering healthcare consultations throughout the pandemic, where virtual healthcare consultations was an underutilized service, amounting for only 877 telemedicine consultations in 6 months. Hence, it was a service that we leveraged on to serve the pandemic. Next slide. So these are the rest of the process areas with the detailed problem identification and challenges per area. Next slide, please. So DHA introduced the COVID-19 recovery program in February 2020, which was in line with the DHA strategic objective number 5, revamping the governance structure. Next slide. Also on the strategy section, we developed the framework with the engagement of relevant business units within the Dubai Health Authority, following the approved methodologies for business process development and improvement in DHA, like, for example, the Focus PDCA. Next slide. So over here, and for a successful implementation of the project, we followed the 5 principles mentioned. Starting from leadership buy-in and direction, the prioritization of process areas, safety and well-being of our customers and staff that helped us overcome a global challenge and the shortage of frontliners. And finally, the continuous engagement of our stakeholders that led to enhancing resilience culture in DHA. Next. Also on the strategy section, our key measures were set to fulfill 3 main dimensions, and our targets were set based on factual data. The first dimension is better operational output. So for example, the number of remote consultations was set to be 5,000 consultations per month. And this was based on the maximum capacity of eligible services. Next slide. Similarly, the targets were derived for the second and third dimensions, which are better clinical outcomes as well as community happiness. We can move on. Next slide. Yeah. The steering team was one of the most important factors towards the success of this project. The cross-functional team was selected based on their knowledge of the 9 process areas, their business process improvement capabilities, as well as other criteria as shown on this slide. They were then intensively trained to understand and to deliver the rapid resilience framework. Next slide, please. On people and resources, the command center was also established and was supported by real-time KPIs for rapid decisions that were important for the delivery of critical services. These were then monitored through customized dashboards where the thresholds and alerts were set based on the targets defined. The outcome of the command center were then used as feedback to enhance our processes. Next slide, please. So over here, you can see the detailed action plan highlighting the main milestones. Next. And sustaining the initiative was also embedded in the business process and performance management and reporting. Next slide. We utilized a stakeholder analysis tool to identify and capture influence and interest of all internal stakeholders. Accordingly, we defined an engagement plan for each of the stakeholder groups. Next. These are a few examples of stakeholder engagement methods that were followed for each of the categories. So, for example, the Ministry of Health and Prevention, as one of the stakeholders, DHA adopted the federal policies and protocols to ensure standardized treatment plans and better clinical outcomes. Next. Over here, you can see the stakeholders' needs and impact. Following the same example from the previous slide with the Ministry of Health, the impact of implemented engagement plan is 100% adherence to the Ministry of Health regulations and protocols. Can we move to the next slide, please? And the next slide. These are the results from the implementation across the 3 dimensions. All targets were achieved due to the leadership support, continuous engagement, and the resilience-driven culture that was created as a result of this model. Next slide. So under the 3rd dimension, for example, we have proudly achieved 92% society awareness about the service charges, which is the core of our innovative model. We have also achieved 92% society happiness with the innovation and fast service procedures. Next slide. I think I will skip those for the benefit of time, and then we move on to next slide. Those are the financial results per process areas. Next slide. And the one after. So over here, we see that the implementation of this framework not only impacted the healthcare sector, but also contributed to the resumption of economic activity in other vital sectors like air traffic, education activities, and government services. It has also put us on first ranks worldwide, like for example, the first worldwide rank for vaccination doses per 100 individuals, and being the first among Arab countries in terms of COVID-19 safety. We have also achieved a number of international recognitions and awards, like you can see on the slide. And then we move on to the next slide, please. So over here, our key learnings from implementing the model is creating resilient teams with diverse capabilities, outcome-based roles to ensure a focused and systematic approach towards resilience, exploring alternative workforce to address shortage during stressful situations, and going beyond the traditional value chain by leveraging on stakeholder engagement. Next slide. So this is not the end of our journey, but it's perhaps the story behind our strength, our commitment, and our promise to the world towards a healthier and happier community during the current or any future pandemic. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much to the Dubai Health Authority. Now let's move on to the Kaizen category. In this category, we'll have 3 presenters. To start, may we call on the Dubai Police for the case Smart Insurance Systems. Please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum, everyone. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. I will start by introducing myself. My name is Captain Engineer Umar Arif Al-Khaja. I'm the head of the Engineering Innovation Section in Dubai Police. Next, please. We will gonna present the smart insurance system under the Kaizen category, and we will gonna go through the plan PDCA, Plan Do Check Act. Little brief about our department. The GDTR is one of the departments in Dubai Police, which supports the strategic objective of responding to emergencies. The project is supervised, executed, and implemented by the insurance department, which supports the achievement of the strategic goal by achieving the KPIs within a specific time period. Next, please. Here we see the DP pillars and the correlation between Dubai Police strategic objectives and Dubai Plan 2021, where we targeted the safe and resilient city and having the response to emergency statistics by improving our insurance management transactions procedures by 50%. Whereas we are again linked to another DP strategy goal, which is innovation in the organizational capabilities to improve and developing the organizational performance, efficiency, and effectiveness. Next, please. The team gathered and identified the various challenges. The challenges basically summoned to time-consuming manual procedures and lack of integrations. Next. Here we can get a glimpse of the tedious day-to-day tasks, which involve numerous filings and never-ending databases updates combined with one-on-one visits by employees for claims. Next, please. In the planning process, we set a meeting for selecting our project, and upon receiving the green light from our general manager, we will proceed with the gathering of team inputs and brainstorm sessions, followed by a benchmark visit to the globally renowned DP World to ensure a bulletproof project. Next, please. Leadership decisions. We are definitely blessed with His Excellency, Commander-in-Chief, Major General Abdullah Khalifa Al-Marri's leadership. His constant involvement in the projects and his emphasis on continuous improvement has helped us shape our project and provided appropriate guidance via timely meetings. Next, please. The result analysis before implementing the project clearly showed that we had a total of hours of 33,145 per hour, total of hours, with a maximum processes of 468, while carrying an HR cost of 24 employees, which a result of 519, approximately 520,000. And showing down our paperwork, which costs us around 4,500 dirham. Next. The project charter. Therefore, we had placed a project charter. This includes the identification statement of the problem, followed by a measurable objective statement. The team was led by Major General Dr. Mohammed Nasser Zougi and Colonel Samir Al-Ali. Roles and responsibilities were allocated, and a Gantt chart, the timelines and deadlines was clearly stated. We were good to go. Next, please. Voice of customer. Who is our customer? What does the customer says? What does the customer want? And what action is required? As an example, who are our customer, Dubai police employees? What does the customer say? Quick access to report work injuries. What does the customer want? Speed of work injuries. And what action is required from our side? It is one application for reporting work injuries. Next, please. Following the VOC, we have brainstormed and created the Chicago diagram. All the technical and functional aspects were reviewed, and all the 468 procedures were put under the microscope, and we were able to construe the various reasons that led to time consumption and operational cost. Next. Here are the list of the root and cause opportunities and the solution as an integrated smart system for all insurance management processes. Next. The timeline that has been addressed and listed in the project charter, where every single member has a responsibility and application procedures to go on. Next, please. Risk assessment being done and being carried due to avoid any unnecessary procedure. As an example, we can say that we have no integration with other systems or external. How much was the degree of severity? It was 3. Responsibility of occurrence 4, and detection possibility. Hence, the actions taken, all data will be entered and saved in the new smart system as a comprehensive database. So we're going to have a smart application system. Next, please. After implementing the project, these are the results, but we can go to the next slide as a summary. Next, please. Results and benefits. Total working hours before implementing the project were 33,145 hours, with a fixed cost 2,055.52, which resulted in 91,215,000. The total working hours after implementing the project were 22,736, with a fixed cost is 2,752, and as a result of 62 million, where we had the deduction of cost or saving amount 28,645,568 dirham. In the top, we can see the section of the savings in the human resource, which cost us approximately 1,150,000. Dispense the old systems, where were costing us 5,560,000. On the left side, you can see the stationary papers, which results in the project result down. The KPIs being set by us were improving insurance management transactions procedure by 50%. Before, the processes were 468. We had achieved, after implementing, 144 procedures, which shows that we had given the 69.2% of the improvement results. Next, please. These are the tangible and intangible benefits of Dubai Police, the integration with internal and external entities, fleet management system internally, GRPS externally, and as an example, RTA, an external entity. Next, please. Entities involved in the project, external insurance companies, and our internal departments, feedback from the stakeholders, and integration with their entities from the General Department of Artificial Intelligence, direct integration with work injuries, development companies, and integration with the fleet management system. Again, as a saving amounts of 35,354,910. Before, the procedures were 468 and we reached to 144 procedures. Next. We are really proud to say that this project is being registered as an intellectual workbook entitled and Insurance Automation, which is being approved by the Ministry of Economy. 2, we had the integration with Dubai Police internal system and external entities. 3, we had 100% system transformation into an intelligent application, which shows the digital transformation in our project for a smart application for work injuries. Next, please. Lessons learned: an agile process, projects breaking projects into sprints and following up with single tasks, and integration with the entire system reduced to the manual procedure, which shows from our project that we had initiated a new project future-wise, which is called the Police Speed Patrol Department, the workshop department. Next, please. Thank you so much for listening. Any questions?
Thank you very much to the Dubai Police. Our next presenter is the Dubai Cable Company for the case Optimization of Alloy Elements Consumption for EC Grade. Please go ahead.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I am Winiya Abdullah, DAC Plant Superintendent. Our Kaizen study is for the optimization of alloy elements consumption for the EC grade. Next, please. First, I would like to give a small introduction about our business. DUCAB has 6 manufacturing facilities, 2 in Dubai, the Jebel Ali cable plant, and DUCAB high voltage. And we have 4 more facilities in Abu Dhabi, DUCAB Musaffah 1 cable factory, DUCAB Musaffah 2 cable factory, the Copper Road plant, and the latest one, DUCAB Aluminium Company in KZad area. Our total manufacturing capacity per year is 175,000 metric ton of copper plus 50,000 metric ton of aluminium EC, aluminium rod per year. Next, please. The main objective of our project is to reduce the overall cost of the manufacturing by producing the 9.5 mm aluminium EC rod by 15% to achieve an additional benefit for the company, about 2 million dirham per year. The 9.5 mm EC grade is having 4 different grades, including the H11, H12, H14. And for every grade has its own technical and mechanical properties, which mainly depending on the chemical composition. In this project, DAC manufacturing and technical team had worked together to reduce the overconsumption of these chemical composition while achieving the same technical properties in order to reduce the overall consumption of the alloy additives. You can see from this chart as well, our actual consumption for the alloy additives, like for example, the boron, the iron, and the tibor for the previous years was equal to the standard BOM. Next, please. Next, please. Yes, okay. We have started our project by mapping the business process to understand all the activities involved in our project. Also to identify the main opportunity for reducing the manufacturing cost. Our business process starting by receiving the customer order through the SAP system, then reviewing the customer requirement, ordering the raw material, and then starting the manufacturing process by first receiving the molten aluminium from Emirates Global Aluminium Smelter in KZad. And after that, we will be adding the alloy elements based on the standard BOM. And then from that, we will go for the casting, rolling, coiling process to make the 9.5 mm EC rod before testing the product in our internal lab and supplying it to the customer. The focus in this project, we found the main opportunity is to eliminate the alloy additives in the manufacturing process. Next, please. Here you can see some details of our manufacturing process for the 9.5 mm EC rod. It starts by receiving the transferring the molten metal from EGA to our tilting furnace, where we add the alloying elements, for example, the iron and the boron, to achieve the technical requirement. And then the molten metal will be transferred to the caster line to be solidified into a caster bar, which will be later on introduced to the rolling mill process for producing the 9.5 mm EC rod. Next, please. After that, we had made the cause and effect diagram to identify the possible factors for reducing the alloy elements. And from that, we had came up with three main categories. First one is the difference in the conductivity requirement. Because in fact, most of our customers are asking for a special percentage of the conductivity, which can be considered as an opportunity for reducing the boron consumption. The second reason is the requirement for the tensile strength in the finished product is not the same for all the customer. This also gives us the scope for focusing more in reducing the consumption of ion element. And finally, the purity of the molten metal received from EGA is inconsistent for every batch. Next, please. Okay, after that, we started the process implementation, first by identifying the requirement for every customer based on the electrical and mechanical properties. And based on that, we have calculated our own requirement for alloy additives. And then we have prepared, or we came up with the customer specification chart, which identified the exact requirement of the alloy elements other than following the standard BOM. And from that, we had developed we have conducted some process trials on the shop floor to ensure that our new process parameters are established as per the customer requirement. Next, please. Here is an example of our procedure for the process trial. It's a continuous improvement process. It starts first by analyzing the previous data as per the old BOM and identifying all the risk involved in this process. And then from that, we started conducting the process trials to develop the new product as per the new BOM. Then we had tested the product in our internal lab to check the results. And finally, we keep following up with the team and maintaining the process to ensure the standardization for in all the stage of the process. Next, please. Okay, this is our outcome of the project. As I have mentioned before, we have developed our own BOM as per the customer requirement, other than following the standard BOM to reduce the alloy elements consumption. And we had calculated the consumption reduction percentage for the 2020 production, which was around 50,000 metric ton of EC rod. For example, you can see that for grade H11, the consumption reduction for the ion was 72% compared with the old BOM. The cost, the consumption reduction in boron was around 28%, and for the Tibor we had saved around 42% compared to the old bomb. Next, please. Yeah, here also a small example of our old and new bomb. For example, in H12, in our old bomb, the requirement for the boron is 2 kg per ton. However, in our new bomb, we have reduced the quantity to 1.5 kg per ton. Next, please. So the total saving for the year is the 2.6 million dirham. Also from this project, we had achieved some extra benefits. For example, increasing the flexibility in meeting customer requirement, increasing the product competitiveness in the market, improving employee performance, and having better control in the process. I would like to mention here that our product was tested internally in our Dukab factories on the wire drawing and stranding process before supplying the new developed product to the customer to ensure the quality requirement. Next, please. Some of the challenges we have faced during the process implementation. First, the inconsistency of the chemical composition and the received molten metal. This project also required more close monitoring on the process, especially while shifting from one order to another. Maintaining the electrical and mechanical properties within customer requirement. And because we keep getting a new customer requirement with the special specification and weekly basis, we need to keep developing and updating our new bomb. Next, please. Thank you. And this is our project. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the Dubai Cable Company. For the last presenter in the Kaizen category, may we call on Dubai Electricity and Water Authority for the case Distribution Automation Implementation through MRU Motorization. Please go ahead.
Morning all. Assalamu alaikum. Morning all. I'm Malay Rasan from Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, and we are happy to present our case study on implementing our distribution automation project with the help of Kaizen. We are the team of 5 headed by Mr. Isa Ali. Next, please. We are from the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, the service provider of electricity and water in Dubai region. Next, please. The process improvement what we achieved is implemented on our distribution automation project, which is one of DIVA's smart grid initiative, which functions similar to our smart home. We all know that how smart home works. In smart home, we can able to monitor our house appliances from our mobile phone and laptop by sitting in our office or from remote location. In the same way, in distribution automation, we are controlling and monitoring our electrical substation equipments from a centralized location called SCADA. So with the help of remote monitoring and control, we can able to restore the supply to every building within 2 minutes of time if there is a power interruption, and we can also avoid the traveling to each substations every time when we want to operate or monitor the health of the equipment. So to control the equipment on our electrical substations, we are using a critical equipment called ring main unit. Hereafter I will call that as an RMU, which functions similar to the electrical switch. So we are implementing our distribution automation on this ring main unit, because that is used to control the supply to a building from a remote location. Next, please. But here is where we faced our problem, because to implement the distribution automation on ring main unit, the ring main unit must be having the facility of controlling and monitoring from remote. However, this facility is available only on the RMU that are procured after the year 2016. So if I want to implement this distribution automation on the substations that are procured before 2016, the only solutions what we used was, can you move to the next slide? The solution what we used was to replace the old equipment with a new one. Next, please. So wherever we had the old RMU, we removed the old one and installed the new RMU that are procured after the year 2016. However, replacing the old equipment with a new RMU is not an easy job because that is having a huge amount of work. Next, please. So before we remove the old RMU, we have to twist up the supply to our customer, and after that we have to remove the old RMU and we have to perform civil modification as per the new RMU design, and we have to connect to the generator, and then we have to install the new RMU and do the testing, and after that we enable the automation. To perform all these activities, we took around 10 hours of time. During these 10 hours, the supply to our customer will be interrupted, else we have to provide the generators for our customers. And we have to procure a new RMU with facility. That cost of the new RMU is too high, and the old RMU what we replaced, we cannot use it further because it doesn't have the facility, so we cannot utilize its complete life cycle. And we used around 10 to 20 engineers per substations, and cost of this implementation on one substation which is around 112,000 AED, and the scope of work is too high. Since this replacement activity is taking too much amount of manpower and time, this also affected our project target. Next, please. Because DEVA set the target of reaching 9,800 substations to implement this distribution automation by the year 2025, but we have more than 82% of old RMUs in DEVA network that are procured before 2016. So we took more amount of time and manpower to implement this distribution automation on the old substations. So it directly affected our target of the year 2020 that was got delayed. So in order to improve that one, next please. And since our project target also affected, this directly affected DEVA's market strategy. Also our strategic objective and KPI targets were affected. Next please. Since our targets are affected, we wanted to improve this replacement process because it was completely affecting our KPI and strategic objectives. So what we did was we called our end users, we called our maintenance team, we called our operation technology and the product owner. We arranged for a brainstorming session. In that brainstorming sessions, we discussed together how we can automate the substations with old RMU in lesser time, cost, and manpower. So during the brainstorming session, we discussed with the different causes and reasons why we can't implement these solutions. Next, please. From that solutions, we came up with different causes that is affecting the implementation of automation on old RMU substations. From that different causes, we identified that one particular cause that is affecting our target in huge manner. So we took that particular cause as a point of improvement. Next, please. So that particular cause was the unavailability of motors and circuits in old RMU. We took that particular point as a point of improvement. We started to work on it. So we came up with the solution of adding the facility on old RMU itself so that we can implement our distribution automation on the old RMU substation directly. Next, please. Before we will implement these solutions, we analyzed this RMU population in DEVA network with the help of histogram. From that analysis, we found that one particular manufacturer's RMU that was huge in population. So we took one sample from that particular product. We started to implement our pilot project. Next slide. So we took one old RMU from the particular manufacturer. We are planned to include the motor, circuit boards, control wirings in order to convert that as a motorized RMU. But here is where we faced a big difficulty because the design of the new RMU and the old RMU was totally different. So we couldn't be able to utilize the new RMU motors and circuit boards as it is on the old RMU. So we started from scratch. We developed the new design of motors, new design of circuit boards, and control wiring. So we tried with 3 different solutions. It took around more than 3 months of time. And after that 3 months of time, we came up with a final solution. That particular solution we implemented on another pilot RMU. So after we implemented, we tested thoroughly. So then we identified that that particular solution was taking only 2 hours of time, and we utilized only 2 manpower to implement this solution. And cost of this implementation is reduced from 120,000 to 5,000 AED. Next, please. You can see in the existing scenario, there was a lot of process was there, which was taking 10 hours. So we reduced a lot of process in the new improvement plan. So now the implementation time has been reduced to 2 hours. Next, please. In addition, we avoided the old RMU equipment because we are implementing this solution on the old RMU itself, and we didn't disturb the existing RMU functionality to implement this idea, and so that it will not disturb the existing RMU functionality. And this solution was developed and implemented by our internal team, so we didn't depend on external party. Since it's taking only 2 hours of time, the power supply interruption to our customer also interrupted only for 2 hours. That also we managed with the generators. Next please. So after we implement this solution of motorization on the old RMU, that the automation also implemented on the substation. Now our end user can able to operate these substations from a control center. Earlier they were traveling to those substations wherever it is. Next, please. We identified different risks involved on this implementation of this idea at the time of pilot. So we analyzed those risks. We developed the risk mitigation plans, and we also identified the risk owners for each risk. Those information are all recorded in our risk register already. Next, please. After the success of our pilot, the same solution has been implemented on 20 numbers of substations and Khattar region. From that 20 numbers of substation implementation, we saved around 2 million AED cost compared to the existing process, and the manpower time and manpower requirement has been reduced by 80%. And after enabling the automation on these 20 substations, our DEVA operation has been improved by 90%, and the employee operation has been increased by 70%, because now all the operations are done from remote location. Earlier they were traveling to each substation and they did the manual operation there. Next slide. And we also ensured the teamwork at the time of pilot and phase 1 project implementation. We shared the work within our team, and we also recorded that in the responsibility matrix that we will use it for our future projects. Next slide. During the pilot area development, we called our end users, we called the manufacturers for the demonstration. We received their feedbacks, and those feedbacks are already implemented on the final solutions. These are the proof of documents. Next, please. We also standardized this process improvement. We developed the method of statement, process flow diagram, and checklist for these activities. Next, please. And we learned a lot of lessons learned from this pilot and phase 1 project implementation. The first one is we improved the selection criteria of implementing these solutions, because this solution can be implemented on critical area where the replacement is not possible. And RMU life cycle utilization is increased through the process improvement. And we also identified different risks involved with different manufacturers RMU. Next, please. And after the pilot area development, now the solution is extended to another 300 substations, in which as phase 1, we implemented the solution on 20 substations already. Now we are working on another 280 substations that is under planning now. Next, please. So these are the 20 stations where we implemented the solution on Khattar region. So we had a problem earlier. With the help of Python, we developed our pilot area. And after pilot, we successfully implemented the solution on 20 substations. We got a lot of benefits. So now we are working on the phase 2 to implement the solution on another 280 substations. After the success of these 280 substations, we will go further. We are in a way forward now with the help of Python. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much to Diwa and all the other presenters in the best practice and management and Kaizen categories. We're really impressed by all of your cases, and it's definitely given us reasonable grounds to why your cases were shortlisted for the award. Thank you all for this very productive morning. Before we see the next category, we'll be having a short break for 15 minutes. So at 11:40, we will reconvene. So I'll see you in 15 minutes. Thank you very much. So we will now proceed to the innovation category, which has 3 presenters. Our next presenter is the Dubai Electricity and Water Authority for the case Autonomous Soiling Detection Apparatus of Photovoltaic Panels. Go ahead, brother.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon. This is Dr. Ammar Munir from DIWA, and I'm pleased today to present our participation with the innovation of autonomous soiling detection apparatus of photovoltaic panels. Next, please. The innovation comes actually in the area of solar PV panels soiling and cleaning. And as you know, this is a serious and potential problem here in our region, where soiling layers accumulated on the surface of PV panels and reduces their exposure to sunlight, the matter that reduces the production of the green solar energy. And as you know, this results in negative consequences on economical and commercial aspects on the PV projects owners, on the utility, and on the community. In such circumstances, the practice that has been applied here in the region and in other regions worldwide that have a similar climate actually, is that PV plant operators run pre-scheduled cleaning events for the PV modules, like monthly, bi-weekly, or weekly. Now, the problem here is that actual need for cleaning is affected by weather conditions, which, as you know, is ever changing. And because of that, a very likely situation might happen where the cleaning events are not coming at the right time that they should come in. This results in inefficient cleaning cycles that reduces the energy production and increases the losses in energy production and reduces the profitability of the project. Next, please. Next. Previous one. Previous slide, please. Just I want to comment that I sent, this is not the brief presentation that I shared yesterday. So if you want, I can proceed with this. Otherwise, if you may switch to the one that you requested yesterday and I sent it.
Just for the sake of time, let's just run with this one. And if you can
okay,
be mindful,
okay. So
I will try. As well.
I will try to manage.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so the common approach in the market actually, which is on the left, is by using two identical PV modules. The one on the left acts as a reference for the soiling status of the project, and the one on the left acts as a reference for the cleaning, for the ideal cleaning status, which we are targeting. The output from the two is compared continuously, and whenever the difference between them exceeds certain limit, a signal is generated to trigger or to initiate a cleaning event. Now, the problem here, the bigger problem actually, is how to keep the clean reference clean all the time in our region. Some companies like Enlighten Energy, a US company, uses a mechanical slide that covers the clean reference, then open it up when the detection process is going on. But as you know, the more mechanical parts in the device, the less durability we will end with, in addition to other disadvantages. The other concept on the right is followed or applied by Kipanzonen. It's a leading company in the field. Actually, they use a small piece of glass, then project a spotlight on its backside, but from underneath lamp, then measure the intensity of reflected light, which is proportional to the thickness of soiling layer accumulated on the front side. But the problem here, as you can see in the picture, that the area of these glass pieces is very small comparing to the total area of the PV project. And because of that, it's hard for it to reflect the actual soiling status of the PV project. Next, please. Now, in our case, actually, and in order to reach the core of our idea, we did an intensive search by attending international, local, and exhibitions and conferences, by carrying on literature review, by searching or by using prior art searching engine for patents, and by applying and getting use of the findings of 2 scientific papers published by the team. In light of this, we studied and verified 4 different approaches until we reached the final approach and the core approach of our idea. Next. Now, here is the main concept of our idea or our innovation. Actually, we kept the soiling reference as is, but by using special solar cells. And on the right, we replaced the clean reference by a smart and digital part that can simulate its performance as if it's physically existing. So this is the main part of our innovation, and the main benefits here is that it's avoid the need for the frequent cleaning, neither manually or mechanically, because simply the cleaning reference is no more existing. In addition to that, the device trigger efficient cleaning events with innovative features that we claimed in our patent, and actually they are patented, that ensure the maximum exploitation of PV production that fit all kinds of customers. And on the right, this is the planned shape of the marketable prototype that we are aiming. Next, please. Now, just as a simple indication to the feasibility of this innovation, I'm just telling that by end of 2020, total capacity of solar projects installed under Shams Dubai program reached total surface area of 1.8 million meters square distributed on 7,000 buildings. And the number is expected to reach 5.2 million meters square distributed on 20,000 buildings. All these are very potential customers to our innovation, and the number is expected to be multiple several times, considering the fact that we have registered this innovation as a patent in different countries in which we will market the product. Next, please. Now, here are some of the technical risks that we have faced, and we developed appropriate mitigation to each one of them that have been tested successfully. One of them is how to deal with the asymmetrical distribution of soiling, how to deal with the inaccuracy possibility of the references in high temperature. Next. How to deal with the shading that comes from the surrounding buildings and objects like trees and whatever, and how to deal with the probability of nuisance signals that come during the periods of low irradiances. We put suitable mitigations to all of these, and we tested all of them successfully. Next, please. Now, here are some pictures showing the prototyping process. We are proud to say that we have done the whole of job by in-house capabilities of our small team member. We worked after working hours and over weekends, and because of that, we used only 11% of the allocated budget. And on the right of the picture, the final shape of the marketable prototype is showing, and as you can see, it matches the shape of the planned one. Next, please. After that, we started the testing process. So we started the indoor testing to test the electronic and digital circuits. Everything worked successfully. Next, please. Then we tested, we moved to the outdoor testing. So we tested the control voltages comes from the PV references. Then we tested the battery charging testing. We tested the electrical circuits, the coding and the programming that we have developed for that. Then we test the generation of the remote signals that trigger, that can trigger some remote robotics cleaning. Next, please. And we tested the previous one, please. We tested the automatic activation of the device over day and night that we developed and added to the device to save the energy that that used to run the device. Next. And here is showing the testing of the mathematical simulations that we have been developed and the coding that we have put in and uploaded to the microcontroller. And these are very important because they control the detection of process and the activation and initiation of the cleaning cycles. Next, please. Here are some pictures in which shows the display of the projects in different exhibitions and events. Here is one of them, and on the left, our MD, Mr. Attire, is listening to the explanation given by the team. Next, please. And I would present three possible applications. Application one is for simple users of homeowners, so they can use one unit installed next to the PV panels. Application two is fit for medium and large PV systems where multiple units are needed that send remote signals to a control room in which the system operator is sitting and watching. And the third application is by using one unit that trigger robotic cleanings remotely, and in that case, everything is going on automatically without any human interference. Next, please. Now, here are some of the financial results. Now, just based on the capacity installed by end of 2020, DEWA, as owner of the patent, is expected to, the estimated profits is 875,000, and the profit is estimated to go up to 2.5 million by 2030. And on customer side, the saving in cleaning cost adds up to 57 millions, and the savings that comes from the reduction of energy loss adds up to 4.2 millions by 2030. And the figures are expected to be multiplied several times, considering the fact that the project will be marketed in different countries. Next, please. Now, here are some of the some other additional benefits, and we are proud that we got approval from the IP GCC office to our innovation as a patent, and we are expecting another patent from the Spain IP office, in addition to other feedback from other IP offices in UAE, Australia, Canada, US, Jordan, Turkey, India, Jordan, and China. Next, please. Now, here are some of the plans for development. We have a short plan, and the short plan actually is just, this is the last slide, by the way. We are planning to remove the pole and that holding the system component, and add everything in one compact unit that can be integrated with the PV array, as you can see here, in addition to 3 ideas for further development that we haven't included in this presentation for IP purposes. So that's all, and thank you for listening.
Thank you very much to DEWA. For the last presenter in the innovation category, may we call on the Abu Dhabi Police General Headquarters for the case Intelligent Patrol Vehicles for Abu Dhabi Police. Please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum and good morning. On behalf of Abu Dhabi Police and team leader Major Mohammed Al-Zahabi, my name is Dr. Hamid Al-Shamsi. I'm leading the presentation for today. Next slide. Let's give you a short story where we start our innovation, our idea, and from where it began. It happened during the murder incident that took place in a commercial area in Reem Island, which we call it Ghost of Reem. At that time, it was really hard to find the suspect, and once the murder been happened, it's hard to find where the driver take place, and we need to track them. So we found out that what the procedure and how we can improve our security and our strategy for Abu Dhabi police to make it more safer and secure. So we look into a certain point, and we change our strategies, and from that we have like 6 priorities. And out of 6, 5 that will met with that smart, intelligent petrol car. So the first priority was combining the crime, and the second one is making a road safer, community confidence, safety and security. The 5th one is efficient and effective management. Each of these priority is matched with objectives such as crime detection, crime prevention, optimal use of intelligent implementation, traffic safer regulation, and increase the community confidence, effective response, support of fostering creativity and innovation. Next slide. This is the concept of our intelligent petrol vehicle. This petrol vehicle has the most advanced technology ever seen. That has on the top the light bar and the LiDAR system, the 2 face recognition camera on the car, 4 ANPR camera, BOS switch, tablet, smart tablet, also the SOS button for emergency, light bar controller, LTE router, and artificial intelligence box, ANVR and process unit, GPS model for tracking the movement of the car, the 2 CCTV cameras, and seat belt and distract driver camera in the car. Next slide. So once we had that problem, we did benchmark it and see what the best solution that we can bring all this equipment, all these devices into one vehicles. And as we call, we need like a very smart, intelligent, that everyone in the street, the car can detect and find out the incident within spot. So we look into USA like example, and we look to Slovakia example, and we study how they use this technology and how affect that technology in their region. And also we look into Interpol as well, using the AI for law enforcement, and how we can detect the suspect from that. Next slide. So to start our project, we look into the problem, and we list the problem, what the main problem that we need to face. We found that we need to include the surveillance system, we need the speed violation, ANPR, facial recognition, that we to make our community more safer and security, and we need to be one of the best, one of the safest place in the world. So we list that problem and we test each task, and we do the POC, and we need to make sure that it's met the requirement, and also the environment, how that system can run 24 hours, 24/7 days, non-stop. So we go into this idea of generation process. Next slide. So from that, Go back. From there, we look into the accuracy of each system or each device that we install in the vehicle, and the capability and the performance. Plus that we need to look into the cost and deploying the time frame, how long will it take to meet all this requirement, and support from the stakeholder as well. We did the test for each part, and we need to make to meet the requirement. Next slide. From there, where we did the Bristol analysis, and we look into the risk management, what type of risk that we will face, and the impact of that, and what the benefit once we install these devices, and how effective to our community. Next slide. For the testing process, we set the scope, and we test each part. Once we have the plan and we set the goal and the time scale, we submit all requirements into 9 companies, so they can support us with the hardware and met our requirement. From 9 of the company, only 5 they met our requirement. Out of 5, we found that 2 companies that can meet our requirement and provide us the best quality of the hardware that met our environment and the condition and the use case for our intelligent patrol. Next slide. So far, we have 198 intelligent patrol car that use mean time, and from that we launch the violation, and we activate most of the services in that vehicle, and we find that the overspeed violation from the car that from September 2020 until March 2021, 4,500, and each fine average of 400. So the impact of the review, it's 1,602,000 dirhams. And the same for the seat belt violation. We detect 3,566 violation. And that violation, each violation was like 400, and the outcome was 1,426,400 dirhams. So in total, that the total violation from some of the system that been launched is 9,481, and the outcome of the review is like 6,064,400 dirhams. Plus that, the benefit that we get from that violation, that improve the traffic safety and reduce the number of traffic crashes, and increase the public traffic awareness, that the people when they are driving in the street, they notice that even the vehicle can detect automatically using artificial intelligence without human interact. It detects overspeed radar. If you don't wear seatbelt, it will detect you. If you're using your cell phone, it will detect that person without human interact, and increase the public sense of confidence, and support the creativity and innovation, and also met our strategy and objective of Abu Dhabi Police so far. Next slide. During the testing, something went wrong and something went well. Once we launch these systems, that we met our requirement, that the artificial intelligence also detect any movement or any wanted car or in the blacklist. It gives the immediately alert that without human interact, that the driver once they drive around the city, he doesn't need to care about looking into the dashboard or something. It will identify immediately once the suspect is noted. And also, if any incident happen, it will notify to the nearest intelligent patrol car. So it will not interact with the operation team that the driver can go straight away. Before we have like, next slide. Before we have like two type of patrol car. One was like for traffic and another one for criminal cases. Right now, we have one car that has everything. If any suspect has a criminal or traffic incident, the car can handle everything smartly and do their job. During the pandemic, it was really useful that the car was ready and being used to protect the border and entering Emirates of Abu Dhabi during the pandemic and reduce the traffic congestion. So during that time, anyone who want to enter the Emirates of Abu Dhabi, he need to submit the form online. Once it give agree that once you reach the border, the car was based there and detect and identify each particular vehicle who has permitted to enter the Emirates of Abu Dhabi or not, and give a green light or red light to the law enforcement in that checkpoint. The future that we need to improve in our system, that right now all the system that in that intelligent patrol car, it's connected with a safe city center, and we need to make sure that in the future that we need to record all the report of crash data. We need to reduce the number of traffic incidents and make the road more safer, and we need to let the community that the radar is everywhere, and we need everyone to be aware that the penalty will detect you if you don't wear the seat belt, if you use a cell phone. Plus that we need to make sure that if any incident happen, the nearest intelligent patrol car, it will get alert and guide them to the shortest route to reach to that location. Also, in the future, we are planning to use autonomous vehicle for Abu Dhabi police, so no human interact or use the drive wheels, so the car will drive smoothly around the city and detect and find if any suspect, or make the community more safer and secure in future. Thank you for listening, and this is the end of my presentation.
Thank you very much, Doctor. I would like to go back to the initial presenter for the innovation category, Max Specialty Films Limited, for the case Turning Waste to Wealth by Recycling, Reusing, and Redesigning. Do we have the representative here now from Max Specialty Films?
Yes, sir. Yeah, we are here.
Okay. Just 1 second for the slides to load, and you may begin. Thank you.
Good afternoon, respected judges and my dear participants. Myself, Fajal, and my team members, Mr. Anil Kumar Bambi and Mr. Nitin Sharma, are showcasing our project on turning waste to wealth by recycling, reusing, and redesigning. We would like to begin with company's introduction. Max Group comprises of 3 holding companies, namely Max Financial Services, Max India, Max Ventures, and Industries. The company owns and operates real estate business through its 100% subsidiary, Max Estates, and a packaging film business through Max Specialty Films, a strategic partnership with Toppan, Japan. Next slide, please. Max produces films under a variety of segments like packaging films, label films, and graphic lamination films. Next slide, please. Max supplies to a variety of customers in Indian and overseas market. Some of the major customers are ITC, HPPL, Uflex, Nestle, Parle, etc. Next. Now let us have a quick look at the global concern, which act as a trigger of our project. By 2034, it is expected that plastic production per annum will rise up to 640 million tons, which was 320 million tons in 2016. Time is running out and this is an alarming situation. And with this pace, it will not be a surprise that we might have plastics in dinner rather than fish. Hence, we all should be careful with what to do with plastics after use. We at Max are a zero waste company that is waste is either recycled or reused. Next. Let us start with problem identification phase. This first quadrant indicates the entire value chain of our products. It starts from refineries, which manufactures PP granules, and we at Max convert these granules to packaging films, which is then supplied to packaging, lamination, and labeling industries. After this, plastic handling comes into the picture. Of the total waste generated, only 1/5 is recycled, and rest ends up in the environment in the form of landfill and oceans. Now let us have a quick look overview of how we at Max manufacture BOPP films, in which we identified opportunity for innovation. You can see the snapshot of our BOPP film line. We start by feeding raw material, that is plastic granules, which is then extruded and stretched from two sides, machine direction and transfer direction, to form a jumbo roll. These jumbo rolls are then slitted into smaller rolls as per a customer requirement, which is approximately 89% of jumbo rolls produced. Remaining 11% scrap is due to various reasons like trim loss, changeover loss, etc. Being into plastic manufacturing industry, it is a responsibility that even single kg of product is not being dumped into the landfills and go into the oceans. 100% of the wastage is either recycled or upcycled. Hence, we took this as an opportunity for innovation and helping the environment by taking target of zero waste. Since most of this scrap was generated during the changeovers, we decided to reduce it by changing offline changeover to continued online mode. Moreover, remaining scrap was being utilized by consuming scrap in-house in form of granules. So this project became our topmost priority as it was linked with the strategy and objectives in which we care for people, environment, and society. Next. We have used innovative approach in which Blue Card was used to maximize alignment between leadership strategy and how employees invest available time and energy in innovation project. It is filled out by senior leadership team and provides the focus areas and parameters for the project team. Moreover, this formula has been used for the creation of meaningful unique ideas where S shows the explore stimulus, F means drive out fear, and D means diversity of thinking. And 5W1 as tool indicates our problem definition as high loose scrap selling and lower in-house consumption in FY 18-19, resulting in approximately 1200 tons scrap sale, and changeover involves line stoppage and high scrap generation, which was more challenging post-COVID, and COPQ linked is approximately 16.57 lakhs USD, which was identified during COPQ review by our senior leadership team. Moreover, process of idea generation involves 5 steps: ideation and shortlisting, collect data and concept drafting, experimentation and validation, execution and results, handover and spread, along with wide array of innovative techniques like market mining, brainstorming, expert mining, analogy mapping, and pre-diagram. We started our journey with preliminary research by process mapping to identify scrap generation points in the workflow. We can see scrap being generated at 3 points, which are film line, slitting, and aroma, which is in-house recycler. So these became our focus areas. Next, please. Now let us understand what is changeover. It is a time it takes to go from last good part of one product run to the first good part of the next product run. Basically, switching between products is known as changeover. Initially, we had apprehensions that any change in changeover process and in-house scrap consumption may affect quality, machine life, and challenges were lack of process constraints, engineering solutions, etc. But opportunities have been outweighing the challenges. Initially, during offline changeover, these red highlighted cells showing the time taking steps 40 minutes approximately, resulting into loose scrap and cut waste. We have analyzed all the activities through work combination charts with detailed and mental breakup by using MOST, PMSTS, elemental technique, and streamlined all internal and external activities. Hence, total 28 ideas were generated through workshops, virtual sessions, and ideas on mail for online changeover. Idea generation for online changeover solutions by using different innovation techniques, which means don't stop the line, do the quick changeover while the machine is running in very slow speed. These ideas were evaluated by 2x2 matrix on the basis of ease of implementation and impact. We prepared feasibility matrix by using innovation tool, paint gun analogy for possible segments where it can be done and experiments can be carried out. Next, please. We brainstormed to identify possible causes for poor scrap utilization. A total of 35 possible causes were identified, which were then plotted on a CED under 4Ms. Yellow highlighted indicates probable causes out of the identified possible causes. We then performed RCA via YY analysis to identify 3 root causes, which were low awareness on the type of scrap, hence poor segregation, process gaps and high changeover time in our ARIMA section, coated scrap which was never recycled in-house, never tried and challenged our process capability. After this, we identified level 1 macro actionables to fix these root causes. Here we used mind dumping method. Further, to execute these macro items, we identified level 2 actions and plotted them in a solution selection matrix, which was shorter format of a PUG matrix. The red items were considered for phase 2 of the project since it involved time and budget approval. Hence, we now had root causes and action plan. Now, time to move on to implementation of actions for scrap utilization. We started with segregation of reprocessed venues into 4 main categories. Green category means it can be directly used with minor tweaking in the recipes. Yellow means RGG can be used but in controlled condition and supervision. Red means this is unusable RGG due to compatibility issues, whereas pink category means it contains contaminated RGG and quantity was very less. Next, please. Work redistribution filter design improvement led to increased output per month by 8 tons per month. We then reviewed our scrap sale process and added segregation and approval process to ensure no unauthorized scrap selling. Through Kaizens and Pokayoke, we were able to improve our ARIMA capacity to ensure that we are able to recycle whatever scrap is generated. We imparted training to show floor team on types of scrap, processing methods, scrap handling routes. We also reviewed our scrap storage and processing routes. For the first time in 30 years, after multiple trials, we were able to convert coated scrap into RGG. So now we can convert polyester scrap, coated scrap, torn plastic bags to RGG. Next, please. Further moving to results and benefits, this slide indicates the intangible and tangible benefits we have achieved. Average changeover time reduced from 76 minutes to 49 minutes, that is 36% reduction. We have seen 65% improvements in loose scrap selling with respect to FY 18-19, further targeting 0% in FY 21-22. We have achieved 10.91 lakhs USD cost savings, improved ARIMA capacity. Also under intangible benefits, quality of work has been improved, better 5S, more awareness about recyclability and reusing among employees and local people. And mudda reduction is also there. Next, please. Now further, this slide indicates the learning and horizontal deployment part. We identified what went well and what could be better during the course of this project. We also extended horizontal deployment externally by initiating major actions to boost our sustainability initiatives. So make products that are more environment friendly with recipe modifications, joined hands with IIT Roper for an important initiative of Indo-UK joint project on plastic waste conversion to hydrogen as fuel. To sensitize on handling and storage of plastic waste, we have performed multiple activities in the nearby areas like awareness sessions, workshops, snooker natas, collection drives, etc. The action taken then standardized and further were made a part of SOPs and recipe masters. Next, please. Before we sign off, we would like to thank Dubai Quality Group for providing us with this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will be moving on now to the Lean Six Sigma category. This is divided into the service and manufacturing industries. We'll have 5 presenters for this category. Let's start with the cases under the service industry. So maybe call on the Dubai police for the case run over accidents. Please go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Lieutenant Humaid Saeed Al-Shimari. I'm from Dubai Police, Rafah Police Station. First of all, I would like to say I will present our project and our case study. The human being is the basis of everything on life, and the preservation of lives and property is our duty. From this point of view, we made the study on runover accident in our area. Of course, our leadership is keen to preserve the quality of life, and His Highness Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, our leader and inspire, is very keen on that. Next, please. We started from our strategic alignment. As you can see, the reduced roads fatalities, traffic fatalities rate per 100,000 per population. Next, please. Before we start, I will show you about, I will give you a small brief about our organization. Next, please. Our police station is, they provide the 19 of services for customers, and we are located in the Rafah area in Souq al-Kabir, and also we cover 9 areas, and graphical area is 13 kilometers. Next, please. And also we have 19 government and federal institutions, and also 19 of political and 44 hotels and apartments. And also we have 24 banks and 12 shopping centers in our area. Next, please. We first of all define, we made a brainstorming meeting. So we established a teamwork. The head team was the director, and we're looking for many improvements inputs for the years 2020, where I discussed the most notable problem is runover accident. Next, please. And here's our project charter, improvement charter model. Next, please. And here the related between our processes and indicator. Next. The problem statement. During our police station review of the annual of the performance indicators for the year 2019, and so an increase was noticed in the runover accident. The previous statistics that show that there is like a noticeable raise from past 3 years, 2017, 18, and 19. It was the 22 runover accident in 2017 and 26 in 2018 and 37 in 2019. So we made the goals to objectives of the projects is reducing the rates of the runover accident by 30% during the years 2020. And we get the other expected intelligible benefits is reducing death rates by 0.2 during 2020 and contributing to rising customer happiness by 90% during 2020. Next, please. And this is our SciBook for our operation. Next, please. And this is the ISO procedure for the traffic section, includes the condition of crashing and accidents. Next, please. Here, the voice of customer, as we all know on how important and significant is the role of the public's relation to our works. So we prepared the model to hear the voice from the publics and get to know what opinions and observations they may have. Next. Here, a benchmarking. So we're looking for the best global traffic practices, where we have implemented the city brain system that was applied in the city of Hong Kong, which depends on artificial intelligence in collecting information through the security cameras. So we were where we set up a special operations room, monitor the security cameras in the area. Next, please. And we use this is a Kano model for our study. Next. A major. We checked, as you can see, there's a clear and noticeable rise during the past 3 years, from 2017 to 2019. Next. So we're looking for the statistics for the past 3 years passed on accident, locations, ages, and nationalities. Next. This is 2018, and next. And this is 2019. Next. Here we use the Pareto chart to analyzing by the areas, and as you can see, the Al-Karama area is the highest numbers of the runover accident. Next, please. And also by the nationality, as you can see, the next, please. And this is the failure mode and effects analyzed for our cases. Next. So we use through the fishbone diagram we found, and we're looking for how is it like to be the numbers of for the areas who was their highest level of numbers of the runover accident. So the frequency accident that show the Al-Karama area is the highest. Next, please. Next. From the fish bones, we found the root cases, and we sit with our team and we put a solutions for like 9 solutions. Next. Here the improve, as you can see, the Al-Karama area, we are looking for, and we are focusing on the Al-Karama area. Next. And here the table of the solution, we put it to focus on Al-Karama area, like traffic campaigns and hotspot, like also more patrol car in the area, and establishing operation room equipped it with the modern surveillance technologies. Next. And here is a scatter diagram for what we are looking for. Next. And this is the action plan we use for our study. Next. This is a control, so we meeting with the groups and on duty with the team raises awareness about observed for the areas. Next. Also, we made studies with our strategical partner with RTA and traffic department. Next. And also we made a joint campaigns with the strategical partner and Dubai municipality. Next. Also the field visiting, this report was showing except the field campaigns public in the hotspot. Next, please. Next. Next, please, to the second slide. Yes. Here's, as you can see, the project achieved the result as shown in the above table. As you can see, we achieve a decreases 35% during the year 2020. Comparing with the 2019, it was 37 run-over accident, and 2020 achieved 13 run-over accident. Next. And as I said, the Al-Karam area was, we focused on the Al-Karam area. There was in 2019, 11 run-over accident, and 2020, zero run-over during the 2020. Next. Also, we didn't stop here. We may transfer the best practice of our project to other police stations. Next. And here a summary of improvement before and after section of compression. Before, we was achieving 0.4 in death rate per 100,000 inhabitants. On the other hand, in 2020, achieving 0.2 in death rate per 100,000. Also, the number of run-over accidents reached 37 accidents in 2019. In 2020, the number of run-over accidents reached 13 accidents. Next. Here, the benefits. Rafah Police Station achieved the first position as the best police station comprehensive nationwide according to the 7-star rating, and also achieving the first place in the rate of road accident deaths on the level of Emirates of Dubai, and the Dubai Police achieving the first position in customer happiness at the level of the Emirate of Dubai. What the lesson we learned, we identify areas and work to eliminate traffic phenomena in them. Follow the Pareto method in determining the areas that we worked on the people and age group. Next. And thank you for listening.
Thank you very much. I'd like to call again the Dubai Police for the next case, Money Transfer Project. Please go ahead.
Hi everyone, this is Dr. Mohammed Al-Janahi representing Dubai Police, and today we'll be discussing the Money Transport Project. I'd like to thank all of the participants for their interesting presentations, and I'd like to thank DQG for this amazing work that they have done for putting together this event. Can we go to the next slide, please? So Dubai's 2021 vision is to be the safest city. And that is a strategy that we wanted to help achieve. So as the criminal search sector, we wanted to achieve 2 KPIs, reduce crime rates and increase the feeling of security. So what we did as the crime reduction department was we sat down, put on our thinking hats, and tried to come up with solutions to look at opportunities and minimize some security breaches. Let me go to the next slide, please. So what we did was we usually monitor our surroundings. So we monitored the field, and through reports, we saw that we had 16 reports in 11 years of theft. And since we want Dubai to be safe, and we understand that there's 30 trillion dirhams being circulated, we knew that this is an area where someone can take advantage of these security breaches. So we did feasibility studies, 74 reports, and we came with 3 benchmarks or KPIs that we wanted to achieve. 0 theft by 2020, to increase the indication or feeling of security in Dubai. And we wanted to increase this trust in policemen and the reputation of policemen. Can we please go to the next slide? So there are 3 pillars that we focused on, or 3 areas for opportunities: the human resource, the boxes, so what is being used to transport money, and the vehicle. And this is all from our feasibility study. So the human capital, we saw a lot of companies will hire people without a background check, that there's no training, that there's not a lot of compliance to can work in the security sector or the money transport sector. And then we understood from the fieldwork that companies would use whatever they want. It's up to their discretion to use a medium for transporting money. Some would use duffel bags, some would use bags. So we knew that was an area that we should focus on. And then third, the vehicles. So what vehicles are being used? We saw old vehicles, we saw not the vehicles that are not secured or do not have security cams on them. So what we did, I'll talk more about in the next slide, or what we wanted to do. Can we please change slides? So while looking at these gaps, we said we'll do the following. Let's train the security guards, the human resource, right? Let's put rules in place. Let there be a uniform that everyone knows these people work in money transport. And then the box. You can't use duffel bags. So we went throughout the world looking for the best practices. We went to France, Netherlands, United States, and Germany, and we found the die box. And I'll talk a bit more about it later on. And then we put in place with our stakeholders, clients, and different government stakeholders, certain specifications for the cars that will be used to transport money. Can we please go to the next slide? So why is this important? I talked about 16 robberies. So from 2019 to 2018, there was 16 robberies worth 68 million dirhams. We understood that this is somewhere or a place that we can reduce crime, save a lot of money, do it effectively, and create this feeling of safety in Dubai and reach Dubai's 2021 strategy of making Dubai a safer place. Can we please go to the next slide? So basically what we did is and I'll show the teams too, we worked in teams. We have internal members, external members, we worked with stakeholders. We put together the steps and we estimated the whole cost, which I will also talk about. Can we please switch to the next slide? So we understood that putting in place a change will not be possible by ourselves. So we looked at our external partners and internals. As internal partners, we worked with the different departments and Dubai Police. We worked with SIRA, RTA, UAE Central Bank, and this was a collective effort that we spearheaded. We also worked with the clients to make sure that we as a community are putting a governance structure in place to safely transport money. Can you please change the slide? So the plan was we selected something that we would focus on, which was the money transport product. We coordinated in between each other and with each other. Everyone, there was a lead from every stakeholder throughout the process. And in the end, we implemented what we all collectively agreed upon. Can we switch to the next slide? So basically the time frame was get together, brainstorm, look at the issue. In 2018, there were training, scenarios, training the security guards, putting out in place X happened, what's Y, what is the plan? And then when we had the dieback and started implementing in 2019, from the use of the dieback, there was zero crime, zero theft. And our target was 2021 September, so this year. But we were successful in 2019 until now. There are no thefts. Can we please go to the next slide? So now we're 90% completed with this project as Dubai Police. Our clients or external stakeholders, 75%. The estimated time frame was 4 years, so we started in January 2017, and we should be fully done with this project in September. We put a cost together, we saved, and I'll talk about that later, huge amounts of money, while only with an estimated cost of 700,030. Can we please go to the next slide? So what we put in place is certain specifications. So the car that you will use will have to have cameras. It has to have 2 central locks. The tires would drive 100 kilometers after it is damaged. And then every car for money transport will have a serial number on it. Can you please go to the next slide? Next slide, we'll talk about what's inside, and it's AC, a black money box, fingerprints, a recorder. So here in our department, we're in the control room, we have coordinates of every car that is transporting money. Can we please go to the next slide? So this is the dieback, and the dieback has a lot of cool features, such as there's a GPS system. If someone tries to steal it, there's a smoke that comes out of it. There's an alarm that the box will sound, or the bag will sound. If you try to open the box for any reason, there will be a die, and this die will cover the money, meaning that whoever steals it will not be able to use that money. Therefore, we are disincentivizing and discouraging the theft of money and making sure the money is secure. Can we please go to the next slide? So here, after finding this bag, we took it back to Dubai, and we did all the, as you can see, we tried to open it. We made sure we couldn't get into it. And if we did, that the die does explode. We had multiple trials and they were all successful. And we did agree, all of us together as stakeholders, that these are the best bags bags for transporting money. And if any money gets ruined, the central bank makes sure that those that are compliant with these rules are reimbursed. Can we go to the next slide, please? So what we did with our stakeholders too is focus on certain areas. So if there's a place where there's a lot of money transport, you will see that there are specific parking spots that are only allowed or only allows money transport vehicles to park there. This makes it more easier. This prevents crimes. It makes it faster for those companies and safer to transport money. Can we please go to the next slide? So I want to end here on this slide. So what happens is from 2008 to 2019, almost 60 months, worth of $68 million. We put in place this with our stakeholders. We bring in this bag and we find 0 robberies. And this discouraged theft in Dubai. And if we just pass through the next slides, please, real quickly. These are just the news covering the bag. And the next slide, you'll see that it was a training seminar where we trained security personnel on how to transport money, how to use the bag, secure it, what to do in case of scenarios. And there were drills and scenarios, real life, that they practiced. And the last slide will be also more news coverage of the car, the capabilities, the cameras, and how they're all connected to the operation room here. But once again, I thank DQG for the excellent opportunity. I thank everyone who participated. We're very happy to be part of this. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Doctor. Our next presenter will be under the manufacturing industry. May we call on Moon Iron and Steel Company for the case reducing rhomboidity defects in billets from 1.6916 ppm to 58458 ppm. Please go ahead.
Yes. Next slide, please. Good afternoon. Myself, Akishan Reddy, with my teammates from Moon Iron and Steel Company, going to present a case study of reducing rhomboid defects in billets from average 11% to 5%. Project timeline was from August to December. Next slide, please. This is a brief introduction of our company. Moon Iron and Steel Company is a frontline runner of Oman's iron and steel landscape with an annual production capacity of 1.2 million tons of high-grade reinforcement bars and billets. From the next slide, we will try how did we approach DMAC. Next slide, please. Yes, basically in the define phase, as you can see right bottom, these are the different types of billet defects in our billets, starting from rhomboidity, slack patches, center porosity, pinholes, and midway cracks. These are my 5 opportunities which I look in each and every billet. Before to that, we have captured our voice of customer and voice of business as high rhomboidity in billets, that is our voice of customer, and high COPQ. As you can see, COPQ per month cost of poor quality. At present, we are having 60,000 USD. Our target which we took was 30,000 USD. Next, as I told you, we look for, sorry, previous slide, please. Previous slide, sorry. As we look for 5 opportunities in my billet, we have plotted a Pareto chart in order to reduce the defective billet percentage, and rhomboidity and midway cracks are combinedly contributing to 72%. In that, rhomboidity is contributing to 42% of our defective billets. So we took our project we prioritized our rhomboidity project Y in our project. Then we have identified our goal, we have defined our goal, we did a Gantt chart, we have identified our scope, everything by project charter. Then after that, we did our, for identifying the relevant elements in our process, we did our cycloc diagram, supplier input process and our customer requirements. And then for detailed understanding, we did for each and every activity, we have done the top-down chart. We are also identified the quick wins. One of the quick win was increasing the manganese by silicon ratio above 35, sulfur ratio. Sorry. Next slide, please. Yes, we have taken a target of 5%. Now, to validate the target, we have done one sample t-test. In this, we can easily see our null hypothesis was the target which we have taken 5% is equal to the statistical mean, and our alternative hypothesis is the target which you have, the statistical mean is greater than the target which you have taken 5%. We have done a one sample t-test and you can see the result. The p-value is less than 0.05, which states that we can reject the null hypothesis and we go with the alternate hypothesis, that is the target which you have taken is significant. Next slide, please. With this, we move on to the measure phase. In the measure phase, for detailed understanding of our process, we have done our IPO diagram for identifying input sources of variation, process characteristics, and how to get the desired output from them. Then we have done this Ishikawa diagram, cause and effect diagram with respect to 5M1E. You can see the bottom of the pic. And then next, from these causes, we have done brainstorming and we have done cause and effect matrix, and we have prioritized 18 causes out of 28 causes. Then our project is on Y, that is rhombodity. So it is basically the difference between two diagonals. So we need to ensure that our measurement practice in our rhombodity is effective. Further, we have done MSA, measurement system analysis, and our gauge and R&D value is 21.55. It is acceptable. And we know that if it is below 10, it is appreciable, but it's 21.55, it is acceptable by our organization. Then we have also calculated the baseline process capability for the defective material and for especially the rhombodity defect. It is also important for us when we are improving our rhombodity defect, it should not impact any other defects as I shown you in the first slide. So we have calculated individually the defect 6 sigma level for defective and for individual defect. And for defective, it is 3.18 as you can see in the picture. And for rhombodity, especially our project Y, it is 2.73. Next slide, please. Next, the data which we have collected from the measure phase. Now, in analyze phase, as we cast in 5 strands, we cannot work simultaneously in all the 5 strands. So we have done scoping using analysis of variance ANOVA. From that, we found that strand number 2 is contributing, it is having higher mean variation. So we have, for next further analysis, we have considered only strand number 2. In that strand number 2, we did multiple regression analysis and we concluded with 3 x's. Before that, eliminating each and every x in each step with respect to p-value and VIF value. We consulted with a metallurgist and a process owner to ensure that removing any of one x from this analysis will not impact the process. And next, as you can see, our regression equation, we got our R square value as 92.13 and R square adjusted value as 92.05, which suggests it is a better fit of the model. 92% variation of x we can understand from this model. So we are okay with this model. Done. Next, for estimating the value of y with the change in x, for estimating the value of y with the change in x parameters, we have used response optimizers. In this response optimizers, you can easily check, like with our 3 x's, x4 type of mold tube, x3 casting speed, and x13 copper percentage. The first case is casting speed. If you take x3 as a casting speed, the increase in casting speed, there is a reduction in rhombodity. And the next thing, the increase in copper percentage, x13, the increase in copper percentage, there is increase in the rhombodity. And next one, type of mold tube, x4, when we use convex mold, we are getting more rhombodity instead of parabolic mold. With these findings, we have the next, we move next to the improve phase. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah, sorry. Thank you. So with analysis phase, we left out with 3 solutions, X4, X3, and X13. So now in improve phase, in order to implement these solutions, we have prioritized our solutions with criteria-based decision making according to Six Sigma impact, cost impact, and timely feasibility of applying our solutions. From that, we have chosen X4 solution to do first, then X3, then X13. Before implementing this pilot implementing of these solutions also, we have done risk analysis, and we have, by considering all the risk mitigations we concluded that we can go with this pilot implementation plan as decided above with X4, X3, and X13. Then first we have implemented our X4, that is replacing convex molds with the parabolic mold, and with some with the proper time plan and everything with the individual responsibility, and we got our improved our sigma level to 3.04. Then we move to the next solution of maintaining casting speeds about 3.3 mpm. Then we have achieved our sigma level to 3.18. Then we have implemented our third solution, X13, maintaining low percent of copper, that is less than 0.35, and then we have achieved our Six Sigma level at 3.25. Yes, next slide please. Yes, after the pilot implementation plan, we have done full scale implementation, and you can see the summary of our improvement. We have started with a baseline of average rhombodity in our billets at 11%. Then after implementing our kick wins, we have reduced the defective billets to 6%. Then in the improve our control phase, we have got our defective billet percent to less than 1%. This is before solution, and it is after implementation of a solution. Yes, next slide please. Now as we got our improvement, now we need to standardize, and now we have to check for the significant improvement in our rhombodity. For testing of the significant improvement, we did hypothesis testing for before and after defective percentage of our billets, and the p-value which we got is 0.009, which is less than 0.05, which indicates there is a significant difference in the rhombodity. Then for the control charts to monitor why over time, why is our rhombodity, we started monitoring our rhombodity over time with the help of control charts, and in order to find any special causes, and you will act accordingly for the causes. Next, for standardizing our 3 X's, X3, X13, X4, and another one from the quick wins, manganese by sulfur ratio, we have revised our SOPs, and we have revised our memorandum of understanding with our suppliers, and we have standardized the process. With all these, we have achieved a tangible benefits like the total ppm of rhombodity is decreased to 1%. Our target was 5%. It has decreased less than 1% actually. Then our average COPQ due to rhombodity was reduced to USD 3,000 per month. Our target was reducing it to 30,000 per month. Then we have achieved better than our target, a lot better than our target. Even in the April 2021, rejections due to rhombodity was 0, and our COPQ was 0. We are continuing in that trend only. Then as Six Sigma level of rhombodity, it is increased from 2.73 to 4.24. That is individual defect Six Sigma level. And the defective Six Sigma level of defective billets, it is increased from 3.18 to 4.82. We suggest that the project which we have done rhombodity, we have reduced the rhombodity. At the same time, we have reduced the all other 4 defects also in our billets. That's good. Then the intangible benefits, like we have increased our product reliability. Then we have decreased in our inspection frequency from 100% to interval sampling. The time decreased. And then the last but the most important, the awareness is increased in our team and in our plant on problem solving techniques. Next slide, please. We thank DQG for providing us this wonderful opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you very much to the Moon Iron and Steel Company. Our next presenter is the Dubai Cable Company for the case Laylis Conductor Optimization. Please go ahead.
Hello everyone.
Hi everyone, my name is Shamma. Today me and my colleague Rosh will represent Ducab Cable Company and we'll discuss about Laylis Conductor Optimization Project. The project have been done from June 19 to July 20. Next slide, please. So the main objective of this project is to produce quality building wire cables meeting international cable standards while optimizing manufacture, cost, and raw material consumption. The problem statement was during analysis of competitor sample, Ducab observed that using 2% more raw material in conductor stage, which result to have a high margin of conductor resistance. Our stakeholders were test and inspection team, tools and die room team, production team, and product and technology development team. Next slide, please. So our main goals was to reduce conductor resistant margin in Laylis conductor to less than 1% from the maximum specification limit in order to save money and reduce the consumption of insulation raw material. And our team members were from different departments sponsored by Abdullah Doufi and team leader with Roche. Next slide, please. This is our time scale, which has a different milestone. Next slide, please. Voice of customer and voice of business. So the voice of customer is the cable should be carried a designed current throughout its life, and the critical to quality is to meet maximum conductor resistance requirement of conductor plus consistently maintain required wire diameter. However, voice of business is to increase profitability, and critical to business is consistently maintain wire diameter and quality, which is at the end meet the critical to quality. Next slide, please. CTQs and related big whys. We have three main CTQs, which are maintain wire diameter, maintain material quality, and meet maximum conductor resistance specification, which lead to have three whys, which are consistently maintain wire diameter, reduce process variability, and reduce raw material use. And big whys means increase profitability of business. Next slide, please. This is a stratification diagram that have been done to check the patterns, and there are no special patterns noticed. Next slide, please. This is our sidewalk diagram, which shows our suppliers, input, process, output, customers, and requirement. Next slide, please. And this is the major phase, which shows the IPO diagram, our input, process, output, and then our feedback. Next slide, please. Data collection plan. There is a few steps done to collect the data. First of all, it's clamp 2 meter sample on device and set the required temperature. Then the quality technician will record the conductor resistant data and will maintain in SAP and testing e-logbook. Next slide, please. Measurement system analysis. Calibration history of measuring equipment of resistomate. It's available in SAP, which shows the measurement error in acceptable range. Next slide, please. These charts shows the total gauge of R and R, which should be less than 10% in order to be in ideal condition. Next slide, please. And this is conductor resistance data of all list size were evaluated during a measure phase. Next slide, please.
Yeah, thank you, Sharma. This is an analyze phase where we studied the process in detail right from the beginning, which is the rod breakdown machine process. Then it comes to the intermediate wire drawing, insulation, coiling, testing, and finally dispatch with the customers. Next slide, please. During this, we were able to identify the waste in the process, the value-adding activities, the non-value-adding activities, but necessary activities. And also we were able to identify the constraints and bottlenecks in the flow. Like we had to conduct a process trial, which need to be carried out to establish the new wire diameters. The process specification of the intermediate machine need to be updated once after the trial. Next slide, please. We did a process risk analysis using FMEA methodology. You can see the various potential failure modes which were identified by the team. We assigned this severity, occurrence, and detection ratings, based on which the risk priority number was derived for all these failure modes. Next slide, please. This is the Ishikawa diagram, which is used for listing out the possible causes for the major intermediate wire diameter variability, which you can see the generic M's like measurement, material method, etc. Next slide, please. The root cause validation was done using Pareto chart. This is from the risk priority number, which we derived from the FMEA methodology. We used to segregate the most probable cause for the excess wire diameter. As you can see, based on the 80%, 20% rule, we were able to identify the highest causes of excess wire diameter. Next slide, please. Based on the root causes, we prepared a solution evaluation criteria based on the major three impacts: sigma impact, time, and cost impact. Importance factors were assigned by discussing with the team. Next slide. We prioritize the solutions using the acceptance and evaluation criteria. The solutions which we got more than 130 points were selected. The first one was optimizing the wire diameter drawing tools after conducting a process capability study. Then to ensure a better tool life using a better PCD grade die from genuine supplier. Then we need to increase the tool check frequency to reduce die burnout issues. Next slide. This is a plan for implementation, a trial pilot implementation plan we defined. This is an internal process document for DUCAP. You can see from size 1.5 to 10 mm square, we defined the minimum and maximum wire size which need to be maintained, and the set tool finisher dies were selected. Next slide. The risk analysis of the pilot trial plan was carried out by comparing with the old conductor resistance margin which we had to the new trial conductor resistance margin, and based on which we prepared an action plan and data collection plan with various departments, and these are completed. Next slide. This is a method to evidence improvement. You can see the box plot chart which is prepared before and after the project. On the left side, you can see the wire diameter which is optimized for the conductor. Before it was quite high, and after the changes it came down. Subsequently, towards the left side, towards the right side, you can see the conductor resistance value which kindly got improved towards the new mean, and it's nearing the maximum CR specification limit. Next slide. We prepared a full-scale implementation plan. Actually, a stakeholder management plan was defined based on the impact, influence, and attitude towards the project from different cross-functional teams. We assigned a certain score for this, and action plan was prepared. Meanwhile, the quality assurance plan was also updated to monitor the conductor resistance values on a set frequency. Next slide. In the control phase, we prepared an inter-official memo which defined the finisher dies which need to be used in the process. This was forwarded to the production team for the pilot run, and on a later phase, we also updated our process specification so that this is standardized. Alternatively, we also prepared the PDCA A3 chart, which documented all the savings and action plans, and we monitored it through a continuous PDCA cycle. Next slide. We used an IEMR chart for monitoring the control plan. This is an individual and moving range chart, which is used when the data is continuous and not collected in subgroups. Next slide. So finally, based on the SAP ML report, we validated a financial benefit of 2.3 million dirhams during year 2020 for this project. The intangible benefit was when we optimized the wire diameter, it kind of helped in reducing the overall cable diameter. This in turn supported to optimize the insulation materials. This gave an additional benefit of 1.1 million dirhams. This project was replicated in other sites of BCAP for different sizes and other product ranges. Next slide. So coming to the summary of improvement, before the conductor resistance margin of the layer sizes were 4%, and now after the change it is 1% and well within the international specification limit. The total benefit comes to around 3.4 million AED per annum. Lessons learned: continuous improvement is always better than delayed perfection. And similar opportunities were identified in other standard conductors, as I told. Process trial and replication is being carried out for some sizes, and some sizes are currently under progress. Next slide. Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you very much. For the last presenter in the Lean Six Sigma category, may we call on the Emirates Global Aluminium for the case Increased Pot Life from 1700 to 2250 days. Please go ahead.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and a very good afternoon to all of the ladies and gentlemen who are present today. I am Majid Khalid Al Khaja, a senior supervisor from Emirates Global Aluminium, and today I will be presenting the Lean Six Sigma project of increasing the pot life from 1,700 to 2,250 days. So before I start talking about the project itself, let me just briefly introduce EGA as an organization. So EGA is one of the top leading premium aluminium producers worldwide with an annual production of 2.57 million tons of cast metal produced every year. We have 3 sites located in UAE and 1 site located outside of the UAE in the Republic of Guinea. And this year we are celebrating our 40th anniversary for our suggestion scheme program, the program and the tool, which generated too many amazing suggestions that helped developing, improving, and even introducing new strategies for our company to continue their business in this industry. Now, can we go please to the next slide? Okay, so the project itself was carried out in the world's single largest production pot line, which is pot line 3 in Al Tawila site, which is located in the city of Abu Dhabi. This pot line is running with the DX Plus technology pots, which are the latest technology that EGA is running with so far. And it is the first of its generation. So these pots had only an estimated life of 1,700 days, which is directly related to the age of one of the main components we have, which is called the cathode. So can we go please to the next slide? So these pots were expected to reach their life expectancy in 2018. And in 2018, when we were changing these pots, our managements, after doing the autopsy for these pots, saw the potential to increase actually their pot lives furthermore, which means we will increase our production and we will even increase the total efficiency of these pots during their life cycle. So while we were planning for this project, of course, the risk that we have is that if we will push all the pots beyond their life expectancy, we might have the chance of multiple failures in a very short span, where your process capability itself doesn't allow you to change more than one pot in every 32 hours. So that means we will have too much of loss production time because of that. And also, if the pots will fail, that means they will start spilling out all the metal and all the chemical components in the pots due to structure failure, which can even cause damage to the plant itself, which is considered as a high risk. So a plan was executed by the management that we need to target 5% of the total population of our pots to exceed 2,250 days by the year 2020. Can we go please to the next slide? And this is actually the voice of the customer, where Mr. Ibrahim Al-Ali, the head of operation, himself requested the team to look into it. So a team of operation members and process control members gathered, leading them Mr. Abdullah Rahbar, the chief of operations, to start and execute this plan. So we can go now to the next slide. So for the measure phase, we used, of course, the SIPOC just to make sure that our supplier input, process, output, and customers are well defined to make sure that we have a very proper action plan and control measures to be taken during this whole project. We can go to the next slide. Now, for the process capability itself, during the year 2018, when we were changing the pots, we saw that there was a population of the pots where they were actually failing earlier than their expected life. And there were also a small population of the pots that already exceeded their expected life, reaching almost the age of 1,900 days, which showed us that with proper action plans and with improvements in the process, we can push the pot lives furthermore. So we can go to the next slide. Now, while analyzing, one of the leading personnel in the industry itself, Dr. Richard Jelsk, a specialist in electrolysis pot autopsy, he has determined that there were five main components that actually will determine your pot life, which are design, material, construction, startup, and operation. So we took these in consideration to know exactly what we need to focus on while we are executing our plan. So you can go to the next slide. So a matrix was set by the operation and by the process control team to see what were the key parameters that we need to focus on. And there was one highlighted parameter in this matrix, which is the metal height, which indicates really how balanced your thermal energy is inside the pot. And that was one of our main focus. Next, please. So a brainstorming session was formed where the process control and the operations team, they gathered with the Ishikawa diagram to see what causes do we have that are directly impacting our pot life. And a total of 15 causes were agreed on. Out of these 15, in the next slides, we will see which ones of them were actually selected. So we can go to the next slide. So out of these 15, 6 main causes were there, which were actually within our control, and there was a very big chance for us to actually follow up with them and control them and even improve them. So the action plan was set, and we can go to the next slide to see exactly what happened after that. So the action plan, as I mentioned before, focused on the thermal balance of the pot. So after implementing the action plan, after we saw that there was a change that was very clear to all the teams, which indicated that our action plan was actually successful. And you can go to the next slide to see exactly how was that controlled. So before that, so I'm really sorry about that. Part of our improved plan is to introduce, of course, tools and platforms to help the management and even the shift in charge to determine which pots are actually within the danger zone where we have to change them out in a very scientific way without causing any multiple failures in the plant. So this slide itself shows one of the tools that we have introduced. You can go to the next slide. You can also go to the next one. So in our control phase, these tools that we have introduced, of course, they were also further modified to suit our needs. Plus, we have introduced some guidelines. And this itself is one of the guidelines that we have introduced just to make sure that proper decision-making is taking place whenever we are tackling any old pots in the line. So you can go to the next slide. Also, some audits were carried out by the process control team just to make sure that the operation team are actually implementing the actions as per the plan and to make sure that our parameters are all within the range to ensure our thermal balance. You can go to the next slide. Now, after that, by the end of the year 2019, we have concluded that a total of $2.45 million of saving was assessed actually by our finance team and confirmed due to the prolonging of the pot lives in pot line 3. So we can go also to the next slide. And this is actually the emails of recognition and appreciation from our top management, from our VP, Yusuf Ahli, and from Abdullah Abdurrahman Rahbar, the line in charge, about this, how successful this project was. So we can go to the next one. Now, a summary of the improvement. Our goal was that to have 5% of our pot population reach the age of 2,250 days. So by the end of the year 2020, 19 pots were able to reach that age and even exceed it, which is almost equal to 4.5 of our total population. But what compensates that is that more than 10 pots actually exceeded the age of 2,300 days, which was a major success for us and for our overall production. Now, we can go to the next slide. Now, for the replication of this project itself and for the horizontal development, line 3 is having the DX Plus cells, which is very unique to this line, while the other lines are having other technologies and other processes actually operating them. So I cannot say they are 100% replicable, but the methodology itself, yes, it can be replicated in the other technologies. And with that, I actually conclude my humble presentation. Thank you all for your patience, and I wish the best for all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Last but not least is the happiness and engagement. We'll have 4 presenters for this category. May we firstly call on the Dubai Cable Company for the case Happiness and Engagement at DUCAB. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Farhana Nahid. I head the talent management team at DUCAB. Today, I'm representing DUCAB to showcase our case study on employee happiness and engagement. The first thing, what we did last year, as you know, year 2020 was the year of disruption. So the first thing what we did is we revisited our engagement strategy and refined it to include employee well-being and happiness as the key drivers. The reason we did that is because DUCAB employee happiness and engagement is nothing new. It has been embedded in our culture. But what we believe in DUCAB is that employees are appreciating assets. All our competition can copy our products, services, the strategy, but what they can't copy are our people. So what we did is we did some fact finding before we actually refined it. We did some knowledge sharing with our sister companies on what they are doing at their end. And we did a benchmark survey of some of the industry best practices across different organizations. We revisited our action plans, historic data to check what really employees would want in such situations. And very importantly is what we did is we had a lot of communication sessions in our organization, which helped us to build our and refine our engagement strategy. Employee well-being survey also we conducted as a pulse check because we did not conduct an engagement survey but an employee well-being survey to understand how we are doing and how employees are coping with the situation. And another important thing what we did in our organization is engagement of our communication champions or engagement ambassadors who were handpicked from different departments, and they were actually our point of contact who actually can go to the source, find the facts at the shop floor level and give us feedback and how they are feeling at the ground level. This not only helped us in getting information and taking quick action and be agile and responsive, but in the process, we were building the capability of engagement ambassadors as being a good coaches on site, as well as building the leadership skills. So once we did our fact finding, of course, we need our resources and budget. We always have annual employee engagement and well-being budget, but the focus had changed. So we redeployed in other areas where we thought the focus should be. In addition to this, additional budget were allocated for employee well-being and happiness by the executive management and the board, which helped us a lot. And in terms of human resources, the very important thing I think we were all gearing up to was we were multitasking and multi-skilling our employees earlier as well. So that helped us to actually redeploy our human resources in areas where needed attention the most. If I give you an example where the recruitment was slowed down, the recruitment team were redeployed in HR operations and employee relations to help with deal with the COVID situation. Same goes for the operations team, our shop floor employees, where some employees were infected or quarantined. The other team members who actually were multi-skilled and talented, they were redeployed to keep the business running. So this was our strategy. To be summarized, it was agile, responsive, and resilient. That's the next slide, please. Thank you. How did we deploy and implement? Our key learning from last year is communication. Communication was a key driver because we worked in a hybrid model, and the world we worked had changed completely and drastically. So communication was a key driver and staying connected was a key driver. That was a deployment approach, and standardization as well across all sites and all locations. So we maintained that consistency. How did we actually do this? What we did is we were very agile in our approach. Earlier in March, we actually did a pilot session before we went into a lockdown on working remotely. So that helped us to come back and see what the lessons learned, and we were quick enough to respond and start working in a different environment. We set up a COVID response team. We're divided into two groups. So one were operational level, we met every day, irrespective of weekends, and we between 9 o'clock. And the executive team met at 9:30. So whatever decisions we were making at 9 in operation level were communicated to executive team members at 9:30, and the quick decisions were made. That helped us a lot to quickly respond and be agile in responding to the evolving situation. And once we were back to office 100% working, we actually formed a return to office committee where different members were formed, identified, and we formed a committee. And we actually discussed on how employees will feel coming back to office and what challenges they might be facing. So we brainstormed and we actually put action plan, which terms of facility development and making environment that is suitable so they can be comfortable coming back to office, to the protocols, to communication. So we defined all that before we actually moved in. So that helped us a lot. So various protocols, policies, and procedures were designed, developed, and approved real time. That was very important and communicated to each employee. This helped us a lot to keep us engaged and be transparent. And involvement of line managers and supervisors were very important because one line manager can disengage, or one supervisor can disengage a lot of people who are actually reporting to them. So involvement of them was very important. So we did that. And we recommended all our management team to be more empathetic towards the leadership style and make sure that the employees feel that they are supported they are connected, and they are trusted. So because of this hybrid model, this was very important. So this is what our communication was to all the people managers in the organization. And not last but not the least, technology obviously is a key driver in any disruption. So IT team played a key role in making sure that we have the tools and resources to go back to the different scenarios we are working on, from software to hardware to 24/7 support remotely. They were amazing in giving us all that support. And the many aspects we kept in mind while actually deploying our strategy are like physical well-being, from healthy meal plans we changed to providing vitamins to our employees so that they have built immunity. Emotional well-being, we had mental health seminars conducted by clinical psychologists. We had social well-being, environment, providing environment for employees who feel safe, from providing furniture to their work, working from home, so that employees who don't have a proper space at home can have a comfortable environment. Professional well-being didn't stop. We still had career progressions. We still had digital learning, distance learning continuing. We still had one-to-one coaching going on. And not to forget family, because family well-being is very important for the employee well-being. So we still continued giving virtual internship for our family members and the customer recommendations. And we did have a lot of programs to make sure that employees spending more time with their families. So we had a lot of initiative there. And last but not least, the financial well-being. We did actually conduct a financial literacy program hosted by our experts in our finance team, who were very supportive in conducting the session on personal finances for all our employees who are actually going through a difficult situation in supporting their families back home. Next slide, please. Thank you. Very important part is how do we sustain it, because the pandemic started in December 2019, but it is still continuing. So sustainability is very important. Before, like someone else mentioned in the slide, is we will be better in moving forward in the future as well. So sustainability is that we actually keep on still are engaging our communication champions across the businesses. Our department head are made responsible to make sure that their engagement level in their particular department is sustainable. We keep reminding about EduCap values, which care is one of it, and we keep mentioning that caring about yourself, your colleagues, your customers, your suppliers is all very important. And very important moving forward, we're planning to have engagement as a key KPI for all the department heads, line managers, and supervisors. Next slide, please. Thank you. How do we measure that we were successful? There were many ways we measure our success. One was the employee well-being survey, like we mentioned, where our employees scored 92% on the question on saying that how well did DUCAP handle COVID in maintaining the employees' happiness. So we scored 92%. That was a big achievement for us. That it was a pulse check to see if whether what we are doing, are we doing it right? So they really were happy about it. So that's how we measure our one success. Then second one is the employee tenure at DUCAP. As you can see, we have only attrition rate in DUCAP is only 7.4%, and that also is due to a lot of retirements and as well as employee leaving for their personal reasons. And one of the key strategy of retention is a succession planning, because that is a key driver for engagement and retention in DUCAP, because we don't want to lose a talent. Unemployment may be there in the world, but talent war is still on. So employees are being still headhunted and talent have been still headhunted. So we want to retain a top talent in our organization. So succession was a key driver. Next slide, please. And
sorry,
last but not
sorry to interrupt you. I need you to wrap up in the next couple of minutes, please.
Sure, please. Thank you. So obviously employee happiness will lead to customer happiness. And at the end of the day, our shareholders and our stakeholders, the end results do matter. So if you can see, DUCAP financial performance in 2020 was quite good and I must say excellent. And it was well received by all our stakeholders, from our employees, shareholders, customers, and suppliers. So that was a great success story for us. And this is some of the lessons learned and something we have permanently incorporated in our policy moving forward. And lessons learned is collaboration is the key, because organically it happened. We all came together as one team and actioned it. So that helped us. Communication, transparency, buy-in from the stakeholders, idea sharing was very important. That helped us a lot. Empowerment was very much made possible by executive management, and automation is the way forward for us, because whatever we have implemented, we're going to automate. And this is some of the things we have done with a lot of story to tell, but this is what I could fit in one slide though. So this is our story, and we also redesigned our reward and recognition scheme and celebrating our heroes in the organization. So thank you very much, but our journey still continues.
Thank you very much to the Dubai Cable Company. To be followed by our next presenter, may we call on Bright Environment LLC for the case Happy Employees Are Productive Employees. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, everybody. It gives me great pleasure to present the happiness and engagement session. This is the team which we have worked with us. So let's move on to the next slide. So this is the roadmap to happiness. When we say happiness, what it leads to and how we can inculcate this as a culture. This is what we, years back, we had started paving the roadmap to happiness. First, we have done that, aligning the individual goals to that of the organization. There is no duality. So the oneness to happen. So this is what first we had done. And next we had into the sense of belongings, the culture of ownership. So whatever they does as a owner, right? They are the responsible person to the things happening. So the sense of belonging and the ownership has been cultivated into each employee and each activity. Next, we have taken that to the spirit of cooperation. So we joined together and achieved as a team. Then the reward has been shared and celebrated along with our employees. So this is how we have taken the roadmap to spread the happiness across the organization. Move on to the next slide, please. What does the initiative description, what created that to identify this need? There are a list of points on which we have worked out. We have taken feedbacks from the customer expectation, feedback from the survey conducted, feedback from the exit interviews. These are the inputs which made us to work on the spread of happiness amongst the employees. Next slide, please. These are the inputs through which we have collected what kind of things are needed for the people to be happy. See, we have conducted personalized employee satisfaction survey through which how many people on what and all has impacted their satisfaction. Then feedback from the suggestion scheme. So we collect, suppose somebody wanted to anonymously suggest something, we have given that opportunity also. Then openly somebody wanted to address those grievances what they have. So we had made a committee which periodically meets and then address those grievances, which has resulted in the happiness of the people immediately. Within the next couple of weeks, we could see the massive impact of the happiness. And we have appointed especially the welfare officer to take care of the untold the unexpressed grievances, if there is anything. So these people, this welfare officer used to mingle with all kind of people. As I have already mentioned, this is a facility management company where we have right from cleaners to engineers and managers. So all sort of people are to be counseled, discussed, and then the welfare officer plays a major role and then bring out the requirement and spread the happiness amongst the employees across the organization. Next slide, please. Can we move on to the next slide? Thank you. So once we have identified, we have decided the happiness has to be inculcated in all sorts of our operations and employees. Then we have formulated a committee which will carry out the budget, which will submit the budget to the board. And then those awarded, the approved budgets have been spent in similar several like this schemes like best award, employee award, regular financial incentives for the people who are performing well, special strengths spent for the training and development, games and sports. The important point which I wanted to mention here is the enhanced medical insurance scheme, where people not only covered at a basic level to the next level also, to accommodate them in any of the famous or the reputed hospitals and clinics. They don't have to go only for the selected clinic. They can get their treatment across the UAE, wherever they are, whenever they require. So this gives us a kind of a secured feeling to all the people, all the employees who are there, especially in this pandemic period. People are afraid. People are always in a fear of atmosphere, as everybody are there. So especially when the people are away from their families and they are in their camps, in groups, this kind of a medical insurance which we have extended to all the people have given them the security, the kind of a feel, yes, organization is taking care of us very well. So this gives the happiness amongst the employees across the levels. So similarly, the performance appraisals, even in the pandemic situation, we never stopped anything. We have been doing all the appraisals and rewards, whatever growth opportunities, rotations for the people to get on to the next levels. All those things have been initiated with the allocated budget, which you can evidence it from the testimonials, which you are going to see as a, in the coming slide as a video. Can we move on to the next one, please?
Hi, my name is Abhijit. I am working as a facility engineer in Bright Environment LLC since 2018. I am very happy working with Bright as my company offers special spends for training and development programs. Being a facility engineer, my company offers specially safety and technical training programs. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Balaji Pandidurai. I have started my career with Bright as a technician. I used to put my best at all the levels, and I will ensure that those are all the jobs allocated me, everything is done in a quality basis. I really want to thank my management here because they are watching each and everyone's performance and promoting them into the next level. I am proud to say I am also promoted as a facility engineer. Now I am taking care of 2 buildings. Thanks, Bright.
Hi, I am Jalal. நான் இந்த பிரைட் என்வெலப்மெண்ட்டில் ஒரு டிரைவராக தான் சேர்ந்தேன். நான் இப்போ ஒரு 3 வருஷம் ஆச்சு. அவங்க என்ன வேலையை பார்த்து இப்போ வந்து என்னை பிஆர்ஓவாக ஆக்கியிருக்காங்க. எனக்கு ரொம்ப சந்தோஷம். கம்பெனியுடைய மேனேஜ்மெண்ட்டு, இந்த ஓனர் எல்லாருக்கும் நான் வந்து ரொம்ப நன்றி கடன் பட்டிருக்கிறேன். நான் நல்லா ஹேப்பியாக இருக்கிறேன், ரொம்ப சந்தோஷமாக இருக்கிறேன். என்னை வந்து பிஆர்ஓ ஆக்கிட்டாங்க. ஒரு 3 வருஷத்துடைய உழைப்பு அவங்க என்ன பிஆர்ஓ ஆக்கியிருக்கிறாங்க. ரொம்ப நன்றி. எல்லாருக்கும் நான் நன்றி கடன் பட்டிருக்கேன்.
Hello everyone, I am Deepak. I joined in Bright in the year 2018. One thing which really makes me happy working with Bright is the performance appraisals they are giving every year. So whatever the performance we did in the last year, it is being recognized and we are awarded accordingly to that. So that is really making me more motivated to work more efficient in the coming future. So I'm really happy working with Bright. Thank you.
Thank you very much. This is all some of the testimonials of how people are happy by getting their rewards and appreciations. And now we move on to the small initiatives taken from the management to mingle the people and then to secure. These are the some of the things. There are some coffee with CEO whenever there is a possibility that we meet along with the people and we select a group of people and then they come and have tea or snacks with the CEO so that they can exchange their views. Each one reach one. This is another month's scheme that everybody has to take care of at least one person in the organization. This gives us safe and security feeling that somebody is taking care always and the organization is watching them. So this reached very well in our organization. We are very proud to have this scheme. And other themes are like inculcate greet and treat culture, cultivate mutual love and respect among the employees. That becomes our part of our everyday's operation. When we start our operations, start with the greet and treat the people and the respect. Next one, please. Can we move on to the next one? These are some of the synapses, photos, snapshots, what we have. And then communication strategy, as I have told you, already explained to you, we have prepared happy employees or productive employees is our motto. This is our slogan. People are our prime movers and pillars. This we insist all our managers, all our line supervisors to keep in mind and then communicate to the people that they are important and that importance which we give gives the happiness and the confidence over the organization, and people are very happy about it. Next one, please. After we have initiated all this, steps, so the comparison we have made with in Bright, how the overall happiness and how it was, how it is with respect to the salary, with respect to the accommodation and the facilities which we have, which has been increasing and increased to the subjective levels. Next slide, please. Yes, there are direct relationship between business and the happiness. Of course, that's everybody knows about it. It is showing positive trends even during the pandemic and sustain the turnover, the profitability irrespective of the market conditions, enhance the customer preferences, and positive feedback from the clients are some of the correlations which we can between happiness and the business relations. Next one, please. The tangible and intangible benefits of this being happy. So increases in sales, profitability, increases in productivity, higher employee retention. This is another key factor which is being, every organization would like to have, but we are having already. So intangible, of course, advancement opportunity for each individual, health and wellness, and all smiles whenever. Next, please. The Bright we call as an oasis for several families. So this is being attracted by several families. This is not people are working. People are working as a family as well as families are working in our organizations. So father, son, and brothers, sisters, these are some of the examples which we can quote. Yes, this is how our organization is. And people are very happy. This is the illustration which we wanted to have it. Next slide, please. Every year, the happiness index, as I have already illustrated, the happiness index keep on increasing, which is the positive trend always, which will result in the productivity and the profitability of the organization. Next slide, please. Yes. How to sustain this happiness? This is the how to standardize. So meeting and greeting guidelines have been circulated to ensure that this is being done. Internal customer satisfactions, transparent, timely performance appraisal, exit interviews from all the candidates who have been leaving, well-being initiative for healthy living, like yoga and other things which we spread across the people and the camps. Playtime is made part of the work-life balances. So no major risk is involved, as it is all positively helping the people to be happy. Awareness about the nature of happiness, installing cooperation amongst the employees are the lessons learned from all this. Next, please. These are some of the snapshots where people are happy and then spending their leisure time playing their respective, interested games. Next slide, please. So to refine, employee would monitor and refine employees' happiness based on the feedbacks and outcomes of the stakeholders. We have the benchmarking with the employee turnover, how we were earlier and how it is now, and how this happiness impacts. So we always monitor all those things. And happiness index calculated based on wages, growth, value addition, freedom and empowerment, job satisfaction. These are some of the happiness index we calculate, and then we arrive at the conclusion. This is how it is. Next slide, please. Yes, this happiness program has been implemented across the organization by employee satisfaction survey, grievance, some suggestion box, periodic review meetings, and we have achieved 100% deployment across the organization. Thank you very much for giving an opportunity to present ourselves. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much to Bright Environment. The next presenter is the General Director of Residency and Foreign Affairs for the GCIIS Al-Saada. Please go ahead.
Hello, hi everyone. Sorry for my voice, I have a little flu. This is Mariam Al-Maleh from General Director of Residency and Foreign Affairs. Today I will have a small presentation about a Saada card, which is one of GDRFA initiatives. The next slide, please. I would like to start my presentation with His Highness words, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid. The fastest way to happiness is by installing happiness in the heart of others. And in GDRFA, we are following this words. So next slide, please. We have a framework which we are following in GDRFA, which say if we want to have a happy and positive people, we should have a happy customer and happy community. This will be the result. If we have happy people, happy institution, the result, of course, will be a happy customer and happy community. We have around 6 policy and happiness field in GDRFA. Just for happiness, we have around 6 programs which serve happiness for employee in GDRFA, and we have 6 initiatives, and one of them are a Saada card. And I would like to let you know that in GDRFA we are around 4,900, around 4,000 employees, which are 1,438 female, 3,560 male. And we have civil and military as well. Both are working in GDRFA. The next slide, please. I will give you a chart line for a Saada card or a Saada program. In 2016, if we have any special offer or discount, we were using emails to inform the employee about like any new promotion in any hotel or restaurant. In 2017, up until our CEO, we start to do a planning for a Saada program, which will be just special for GDRFA employees. In 2018, we launched a Saada plastic card for our employees, and we distributed to all of them. But in 2019, we launched a Saada application and smart card for our employees and their family. In 2020, we launched a Saada card for tourists who visit Dubai, and we launched a smart exhibition because of Corona. So we did exhibition through our phones. In 2021, stay tuned. There will be a new news. You will know about it soon, inshallah. Next slide. To have a small brief about Saada card, it's a loyalty program launched by GCIIS2021. We distributed to employee and their families. Now, Saada, it's given to family member by them own and to GCIIS2021 employee, and we start to give it to tourists who visit Dubai. And I would like to say we did a benchmarking with Singapore and UK regarding the happiness of passport control employees. We get the first position in happiness of employee happiness in this field. Next slide, please. Why we choose to make this program? Why we choose to do a program which is just special for a promotion and discount for employee? Because in 2016 and 17, you can see a little drop at 72. In a question of annual survey, we have around 30 questions. One of them was program and privilege provided by your workplace. It was drop. Then we did a small survey and we asked what type of program and privilege you would like to have, and 90% of the response was they want a special discount program. Next slide. What is a Saada objective? Develop employee loyalty and belonging to the workplace, rising level of happiness in the work environment, strengthening the partnership between public and private sector, ensuring the UAE community is served in the best possible manner, an element of attraction and support for tourism sector in the country, enhancing Dubai reputation in the community. Next slide. We have around 2,500 brands which are participated in a Saada program. So when I say brands, I didn't count the branches. So we have around 2,500 branch, which is classification, as you can see, on 13 sectors, travel and tourism, vehicles, entertainment, restaurant, health and beauty, and other sector, which will be useful for our employees. And when we choose any brand or any store to be included to our Saada program, we always take our employees' opinion to have the new store or the new shop. Next slide. Here I have a compare between tourist smart card and employee Saada smart card. The employee Saada smart card, it will be through the HR application, where they can see in the same application all about them work, like in HR details, and as well they can see them a Saada card and the places which they have offer on it. For tourists, they have just to add them passport number and the date of arrival to Dubai, and they will have them on a Saada card with them own name on it. Next slide. It will be a small video, less than 1 minute, about a Saada tourist card. Can you click on it?
Your attention, please. Smoking is only permitted in specified smoking areas. Thank you.
بطاقة السعادة هو تطبيق أطلقته الإدارة العامة للإقامة وشؤون الأجانب في دبي بهدف أن يتمتع السياح القادمون عبر منافذ دبي بباقة من العروض والمزايا والخصومات المالية التي تغطي عدة وجهات سياحية داخل الإمارة. ويستطيع السياح الاستفادة من هذا التطبيق طوال فترة تواجدهم داخل الدولة.
Next slide. And here I have to mention why we choose to have a Saada tourist card because it will be support for employees. A Saada card as well. A Saada card for tourists give a good reputation for a Saada card in all over the world. And moreover, I have to say that for tourists, the discount it's not same as employee discount. So here are some features of tourist application and employee as well application. You can easily find the location where the discount is offered by seeing the icons, and you can know the nearest store which provide for you a promotion, as you can see through the map. As well, when any employee or any tourist go through the shop, he will find or she will find notification about a Saada offer at the same time. Next slide. Next slide. Okay. Also, we have other features like you can classificate the discount. You can see from the highest discount to lowest discount. You can search by name and you can search by sector. Next slide, please. And we have added a new thing where we want to know how much we save in each employee. We have something called a saving account. So when any employee do a purchase and using a Saada discount, we can calculate how much save we did for each employee. Next slide. We are adding a special company's Saada application in the banner so the employee can know about it. Next slide. And we are publishing through emails as well so that an employee can know about a discount, not just the application itself. Next slide. And as well, if the employee or tourist went to any restaurant or stores, they can find a Saada stand there on the counter side. Next slide. Here are some of total saving of a Saada program sector. As you can find, the total are 828,277 for each sector. The next slide. And through a Saada card, we did many events and in GCIIS2021, and we get a free gift and a free voucher for our employee, and the total saving was 10,353,735. Next slide. Here are some news about the Saada card, which was published through World News and like TV and other way. Next slide. I think it will be the last slide. And here we come up with giving a Saada card to some of famous and people who are, we provide them with a golden visa. And that's one of a way of marketing where we can provide them with a marketing, like it will be marketing for a Saada card. And thank you.
Thank you very much. For the last presenter in the happiness and engagement category, may we call on the Dubai municipality for the Kuth initiative. Please go ahead.
Is my voice clear?
Yes, thank you. Go ahead.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Mariam Sallagi, Head of Food Studies and Risk Assessment Unit from Food Safety Department in Dubai Municipality. Here at Dubai Municipality, we aim to enhance the confidence in food safety and establishing a culture of leadership and corporate governance. We use in this initiative Dubai Model's tools and followed the Dubai Model for Government Services framework to deploy the initiative of food. In addition, we used self-assessment tools and attended Dubai Model workshop and meetings to use the unified customer experience and efficiency tools. Our initiative main objectives are encouraging and contributing in smart city projects, increasing customer, employee, and unity happiness, community happiness, pioneering and leading in laboratory fields, protecting public health and safety, supporting food security project, and enhancing the service quality and efficiency. Next slide, please. In general, Dubai is the region's biggest hub for food trade and handles 75% of food imported to the UAE. More than 10 million tons of food is imported through Dubai port annually from around 200 countries. Next, please. Dubai's food industry is steadily growing as the number of residents and visitors are increasing every year. Events such like Expo 2020 will lead to further increase in food imports, and any delays in conducting food testing and obtaining reports can increase the cost of food storage for the customers. Such delays can also have a negative impact on the efficiency of the food supply chain, driving costs up further. These challenges oblige us to search for innovative and sustainable solutions. Next, please. Food initiative consists of 4 sub-initiatives. Our first step was to analyze food data for over 12 years using big data analytical tools. We applied the principle of risk assessment on this data to identify high-risk foods and to prioritize tests for over 800,000 different food products. For these foods that we identified for testing, we introduced advanced testing technologies driven by Internet of Things and artificial intelligence. This helped us to fast-track both testing and issuing the reports in 2 days instead of 5 days. We also introduced mobile lab testing service that helped us to collect and test food samples in the location of events and festivals, such as Global Village and other events, to ensure the safety of 10 million of populations and reducing the testing time substantially. This also helped us to increase the number of on-site testing by 175%. Next, please. We were happy to engage our customers through various means to redesign and enhance the journey by reducing the steps from 15 to 9 steps with a single visit. Next, please. The initiative resulted in saving of 61 million dirhams for our 20,000 customers and created a positive impact for the environment by reducing the carbon footprint by 50%. We increased our food safety compliance from 89% in 2019 to 93% in 2020, as you can see here, by concentrating on high-risk products and conducting the safety parameters. By this also, we aligned with the food security strategy. Next slide, please. The customer satisfaction increased from 96% in 2019, from 94% in 2019 to 100% in 2020. And the trust increased from 92% in 2019 to 100% also. This confirms our commitment to provide excellent service to the society. My last slide, please. An important outcome of this initiative is that we were able to sustain all our crucial food safety measures by testing high-risk products and releasing foods on time to ensure food security at all times. 78% of the food consignments were released immediately during the COVID-19 crisis using risk assessment techniques powered by big data analytics and predictive algorithms. At the end, I would like to illustrate that food is the first line of defense in the food system. We will continue to advance food safety to make the world safer and better place to live. Thank you very much. There is video to be.
Thank you very much.